Hello, everyone. Pop culture curator here, and it is a Monday evening for me and I think a few others. So that means it is time for another episode of the classic show, Lost in Space.
Yeah. Oh, Pop, I
And it's
found
so
her.
good.
I
I'm sorry, what's that?
said I found her.
Hey,
10 seconds
Hello,
after I
Jill.
sent the message. It sent the message. 10 seconds.
That's excellent.
Just in time, right?
Yep.
Yep. Jill has materialized.
But I'm
She beamed
excited.
in just in time.
That's right. Jill's always here. She's very much more dependable than I am. Which I need to improve. And I will be there for tomorrow's stream, Jill. I was able to postpone everything until Wednesday, so
awesome. That's great because this
I
is a big
know.
one.
Yes, it is.
And in some ways, it's yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
A really big shoe, as someone used to say.
And yeah, I'm excited. It's Monday, so we are going to be covering the episode of Lost in Space, the Android Machine. And first, I'd like to say I know there's people who've been in the chat for a little while, waiting very patiently. I'll get right to you, and I want to make sure I say hello to everyone. But I'll go ahead and start off with my panelists, and I know I usually go clockwise. It seems to be an old habit of mine. First, I'll say hello to my good friend Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Been a little bit of a long day, but I'm good. I'm just glad I finally get a chance to review what little girls are made out of.
Oh, really?
Whoops.
Okay.
We're in the Android machine.
Right. Yeah, I guess they are different kinds of androids, aren't they?
Yeah.
If this
And
episode went on any longer, she might have evolved to be more like Andrea.
That's
Ooh.
true.
Andrea the android, the best android of all time.
She's pretty
Yep.
great.
And I'd like to say hello to my good friend Stone Racket. How are you doing tonight?
Just fine tonight. Looking forward to discussing this episode with all of you.
Very cool. Well, glad to have you here. PvP, what say you? How are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, not too bad. The day went by reasonably quickly, so that's always good. It's always nice to get the first day of the work week over with and get Monday, get to hear, on Lost in Space and have a bit of fun after the day. So yeah, it was a good day.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and good to see you as well. How are you
Thank
doing today, Antiderivative Jill? Good to see you.
Hey, great to see you too. Doing wonderful. Just ready to talk about this episode.
All right, so we've got 3 of us who have seen it, and 2 of us, this will be their first time experiencing and sharing with us their thoughts on the episode. So that will definitely be interesting. I can't wait. I'm excited. I also want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Welcome. I hope you're all safe and warm and cozy for the night. Hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. If you do, maybe consider hitting the like button down below. And if you haven't done so, maybe turn on the notifications so that you'll know whenever we have another fantastic, amazing stream. You will be notified and you will be here to join us. And if you haven't done so, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I think you will be glad you did. So first of all, I want to say hello in the chat to Stone Racket, and who is now also on the panel, who said, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, always treat your robots and androids with kindness and respect." Thank you, sir. And I do agree. You never know when they'll turn on you, right? All right. The Stone Racket says, "Good evening, Pop Culture Curator." Well, likewise, back at you, Stone Racket. Lemon Pie says, "Hey, Pops. Hey, everyone. Hello, Lemon Pie."
Yeah.
Lemon.
Hey, Scurvy. Hey, Scurvy.
Hi, lemon pie.
I always love seeing Lemon Pie here, as well as Jim from Jim's Landscape. How are you doing, Jim?
Hi, Jim.
Jim says hello.
Commodore, how are you?
Commodore Productions, that is.
Yeah.
And LDG, Free the Net, says evening. Hello, LDG. It's good to see you as well. In fact, that reminds me, I've got to talk to I have to speak with Gorilla about that Waltons episode, and you being here reminds me of that. We can do that. It'll only take a moment. Jim's Landscape also says hi, Stoner, Jill, Pop, Gorilla, and PvP. And Jim says hi, LDG.
Well, hello to Lemon Pie, LDG, and Jim.
Yeah. Hi, LGG.
Hey, Jim.
And just to let everyone know, I am not a stoner.
He's not a stoner. He's a stone racket.
I'm a
Okay.
stone racket.
Okay, I gotta ask, how did you come up with that name for your channel or your name?
That is a nickname from childhood, believe it or not. And it goes all the way back to my father as a child. He was the youngest in his family, and the next oldest was his brother Clarence, who was 18 when my dad was born. And so my dad really didn't have any playmates his age, and as a lot of actors in Hollywood, when they were children, they would have imaginary friends. And that's what my dad had. He had two imaginary friends, one named Stone Racket and the other named Henny.
Interesting.
And every once in a while, when my younger brother and I were in the backyard playing, and my dad wanted us to come inside the house or get our attention, he would say, Stone Racket, Henny, come over here, or come inside, And so once in a while, every once in a while, I'd be named Stone Racket, and my younger brother Ron be named Henny, and that just goes all the way back to my childhood.
Oh, okay.
Very cool. And yeah, that's good to know. I appreciate you explaining that.
No problem.
Tonight we are covering, as I previously mentioned, Classic Lost in Space series. And for tonight we are doing Season 2, Episode 7, The Android Machine. And the description is as follows. Dr. Smith orders an android who they teach to be more human. A salesman shows up looking for payment. And I think for those of you that have seen this show, I'm sure you're going to remember this. It's memorable because of the guest stars, especially the store manager. I was going to say hotel manager, because for some reason he's dressed like a hotel manager, him and his guard. But it's played by the amazing and wonderful Fritz Feld, who goes way back. And what we see tonight, for those of you guys that are new watching this episode, I'm talking about the hotel manager. That was his shtick, where he would pop his mouth and click his heels. Whenever you saw him guest star on something, it doesn't matter if it was Bewitched, Twilight Zone, or he was on countless shows, a whole bunch of things. He always did that routine. He had his hair combed the same way, and he always popped his mouth with his hand and clicked his heels together. So that's not specifically this episode, just to let you know. I'm going to give a quick assessment here before we get started, as usual. I'll try to get to this as quick as possible, everybody. And the assessment, now remember, this is from the book Irwin Allen's Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series, Volume 2 by Mark Cushman. And the theme is an old one in books, movies, and television, and perhaps the most common, especially from the era in which Lost in Space was made, that of self-sacrifice. But it is out in an effectively unique manner in this episode, as the android Verda, who starts out as a teacher for the children, is unwittingly taught by her very pupils. She learns compassion and the meaning of self-sacrifice from the Robinsons, Penny in particular. With this episode, Lost in Space crossed the line between out-of-this-world sci-fi with very liberal, even reckless interpretations of scientific accuracy and fantasy. A vending machine with access to a celestial department store, a store official named Zumdish who transports himself between planets in a spacecraft that resembles an ornate early 20th century elevator, While we understand that Berta speaks English because she is tuned to Smith's, quote, psychic frequency, no effort is made to explain how and why Zundish speaks our language, or dresses like a posh hotel manager or floor walker from the 1930s Earth. Despite this, the android machine is well plotted, the characterizations are rich, it has both effective elements of drama and humor, and the humor is indeed humorous, not merely an attempt at silliness. And the story has a heartfelt theme which is delivered right on target. The script was written. This is our second episode by Bob and Wanda Duncan. If you remember, they previously wrote The Space Circus a couple weeks ago. And they turned in their first treatment on May 27th, 1966. Tony Wilson, as usual, did a script polish on August 10th, 11 and 12. And while Lost in Space leaned towards fantasy in many of its previous episodes, perhaps most notably in the Duncan's first script assignment, Space Circus, this was its first indisputable fantasy. Bob Duncan defended his decision to interviewer Mark Phillips, saying of Lost in Space, it was, after all, based on Swiss Family Robinson. But there was no way that kind of realism could be sustained. This was at a time when space travel was on everyone's mind. Even kids knew there was no atmosphere on other planets in our solar system. It was a highly impractical problem to create a realistic version of another planet with its logical differences from Earth. Lost in Space made no attempt to base episodes on real science. A writer could make up any terms he wished as long as they sounded scientific. In Space Circus, there's a machine that removes blight from planets, but it was not meant to be an extrapolation of existing horticultural science or an intergalactic department store with vending machines set around different barren planets. No great logic there, or people turning into vegetables. Serious science fiction, this never was. Lost in Space was chiefly a fantasy, rather whimsical at times. It was by far the biggest challenge of Irwin's series to write for. So I know it may seem sort of simplistic, but they were saying that it was very challenging. And at least we do get the admission because us on the panel have discussed many times, sometimes a lack of logic, sometimes a lack of scientific accuracy about this episode. But there we finally get somewhat of a haphazard explanation. I mean, obviously they knew at the time, like he said, that there was no atmosphere on alien planets and all that, all the other things that came with it. But they're basically saying, well, what are you going to do, right? We had to write a show for weekly television for the family, and we had to be able to travel from one place to another. And besides, same thing with Star Trek. You guys know, every time they come across a planet, in most cases, it was a Class M planet with very few exceptions, right?
Yes, indeed.
For sure. Well, how are you going to send a landing party
Yeah.
if you always have to put on a spacesuit and everything? So
Yeah.
if
Hey.
you can breathe the planet, that makes things
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
And hey, Geek Flag, and welcome Edge of Time.
Hello, good to see you all. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. Yeah, that's why with Star Trek, they just came up with the term Class M. It saved the effort of basically, talking about the balance of oxygen and nitrogen and everything in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So they just came up with Class M, which made
Yeah.
it
Well, I liked
more
how they
listenable.
later explained that the Vulcans used to have the definition or the class of mature class, and then they just codified it by giving all these different planets letters instead of actual name type things, like class names.
Which does make sense. That seems like a logical solution. Something like if and we ever get out there and start traveling and going to multi planets, that's something that sounds plausible, like something we would probably do.
Well, it saved a lot of time in the episodes too, because it was like the transporters, right? It was basically something they came up with to save a lot of time, in the episode as the transporters and also the Class M. They just say at the start of the episode, "Oh, it's Class M planet," and we all know what that means. So then we're ready to go, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
And yeah, I think I got probably count on one hand how many exceptions they had to a class in planet where they had to wear a suit of some form, or like with Vulcan. Yeah, it was a class in planet, but the air was thin. Because
Mm,
remember, Captain Kirk had trouble breathing.
right.
So at least it wasn't always perfect. So it gave it a little bit of a variety, I suppose. But anyway, back to Lost in Space, I guess, what we're here for. So here we have a recap from last week's cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And as usual, Dr. Smith is extremely busy taking a nap.
Should we catch up on chat before we get going into this?
Actually, that's a great idea. Thank you, Gorilla. And by the way, thank you, Jill, again for the slides tonight. I really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. It helps with the conversation.
Yeah, it's Stone Racket or Scurvy says Stone Racket does not accept Drill's version of his name, but I don't blame him.
Or exactly.
Geek Flag with Nate. No, it's 1973. His galactic elevator is very similar to the TARDIS.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but at least the TARDIS is enclosed. This
Yeah.
one this one's full of holes.
It's full of holes. That's right. How
Well,
do
so
they get through outer space?
yeah, what I'm guessing is rather than traveling through space, it just transports from one location.
Yeah, it's a transporter, type system.
Yeah, the transportation. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we've seen long distance transportation before from that time that Will went back to Earth for an
Yeah.
episode.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's the Edge Time says greetings from the Edge of Time.
Greetings, Edge of Time. Good to see you as well.
It's time.
And Edge of Time says I invite you all to the condensation
Condescension club.
But
Ooh, I
the
don't know.
rules are kind of complex. I'm not sure you'd get it. I heard that Star Trek they came up with the transport because initially they didn't have it in the budget to build a shuttlecraft.
It's true.
That is true. They knew they
Yeah.
had to be able to get to the planet every weekend.
Well, also, it's a lot quicker to have them beam down than have to fly a shuttlecraft to every
Yeah.
planet in every episode.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't that even in the show's writer's guide or the show Bible, where it basically spelled that out by saying we can't land the ship, so we have the transporter to get us right into the story or right out of the story.
Even when they have the shuttlecraft, they can't do that every episode. That is still
Oh,
too much
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And the
Exactly.
transporter looks so cool, in the episodes when they beam down, right? I mean, it's such a cool effect. So it's like, why not go with it,
Now,
Yes, indeed. And we all know how they did that effect, right?
yes.
Glitter.
Yeah.
It was
some kind of-
aluminum dust photographed as it was poured in front of a high intensity light.
Oh, actually, TNG does the glitter. I got mixed up.
Well, yeah, I thought, yeah, you were talking about the optical glitter kind of effect. Yeah.
And I wanted to first. I'm going to raise my shield because this is not a popular thing to say, but the transporter was not invented for Star Trek. It was around before that.
Oh, yeah.
Gene Roddenberry got the idea from other sources. I'll put it that way.
Oh,
without
yeah.
going into
For
too much
sure.
detail.
Not to mention Forbidden Planet wasn't exactly a transporter, but the idea and the actual props from that movie made it to
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah,
And the go ahead.
Oh, I just can continue with chat, but go ahead.
Yeah, the first instance that I remember of a transporter or the whole idea of matter transference is the classic short story from 1957 called The Fly. Or if she looked upon the horror once again, she would scream for the rest of her life.
Yep, that's exactly what what he was working on was a transportation device.
You got it. The transporter. Yep.
And welcome
I know,
Sci-Fi
right?
6
The
Dan.
first transporter accident.
Yeah, and sci-fi she's saying, "Oops, close the poll, but it was in my way."
Hello, sci-fi. That's okay. If
Yeah.
if you close, I think if you close the poll accidentally and then you decide, oh, I want to vote, I think if you refresh your screen, I think it might come back up again.
Yeah, you just gotta exit out and come back in.
If
He
that's
says
what you
hello to
meant.
Pop. He says hello to Pop, and
Yep, good
then
to see you as well.
he's waving here. And Elder Greg says, "Giant spider arms waving, greetings to you, puny humans."
Hello, Ola Greg.
And he says, "Cheers."
Uh,
The geek says, "The original Flash Gordon had a transporter."
Oh, I did
Yeah,
not know that. That's cool.
there are tons of things in Star Trek that don't originate in Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
They just popularize these
yeah,
ideas.
yeah. I wasn't aware of that in Flash Gordon. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I remember seeing some of the old Flash Gordon serials when I was a kid at the local movie theater, but I don't remember particularly there being transporters, but I guess there could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I,
you're referring to the Buster Crab version.
well, I didn't see every episode anyway, but yeah, maybe it's the Buster Crab version. Yeah, could be.
All right, and Elder Greg says, "Democrats always vote twice." It's sci-fi
Sometimes
she's saying,
more.
"Hello there, PvP."
Hey, Dan.
They don't have to be alive either.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
exactly.
hey, hey, I'm new to this whole thing. I got about 8 ballots in the mail. Do I send them all back in at once, or do I spread it out over a couple of weeks? I'm new to
Well, it
this.
depends what you're voting for. It depends what you're voting for because they'll either mass print a bunch more of them or they'll end up in the trash can, depending on who you vote for.
Yeah. And Limit says, on this slide looks like Smith has been transported to Sleepyland. Oh,
Well, and there's a reason why.
he's
go
always
ahead.
sleeping. He's always
Yeah, he
sleeping.
is.
What are
He's
you
always
talking
taking a
about?
nap. Well, any chance he can take a nap for sure. But there's the reason why I have it on this slide is because they bring up something weird about this planet, saying they say that the carbon dioxide and the oxygen transpiration, it doesn't happen with these plants. So the plants don't take in carbon dioxide and they don't release oxygen, and they don't even need water to survive. So I appreciate the intent to try to make the world seem more alien by saying that this happens, but they don't explain how the plants survive. How do they eat? Do
Right, nourishment.
how do they feed themselves if it's not photosynthesis? What
Right.
is going on?
The
Jill
Duncans,
says,
the Duncans were not tasked to
hey,
come up with
Jill,
an explanation.
you're overthinking it.
I am, because to have an oxygen atmosphere, you have to have some kind of oxygen cycle, and so the sun and the animals and plants are so important to life on Earth.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed that they
I'd
actually
like.
used the word transpiration in the episode. Like that was amazing.
Maybe one of the Duncans had heard the word before when they were in high school or something.
Yeah, I just thought that
Not
was
sure
kind of
when they
unusual.
remembered.
Kind of unusual for Lost in Space to use such a scientific term, though. It doesn't happen.
And of
too
course, it
often.
is the robot giving the lecture. So,
Good old robot.
and with Dr. Smith and his, oh, my poor delicate back,
Oh,
he's
geez.
sleeping on rocks. That can't be too comfortable.
Well, yeah, what's funny, I thought, yeah, it's obviously a line written by Harris, but it's hilarious because he's basically asleep. A fly wakes him up, and then it startles him, and he says, "I'm innocent. I'm innocent."
Now that sounds like Dr. Smith for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, great writing. And of course, he's mocking the robot for its lesson that it's giving the kids, saying they're going to grow up ignorant, and when they do, don't blame him.
I'm
But
still laughing out that he gets it wrong, gets stuff wrong. Oh wait,
Who
we're not
died?
there yet. We're not there yet. Never mind. We'll talk about the lesson plan.
So doctors, go
The
ahead.
kids aren't taking Smith's comment too seriously, though, looking by the smirks on their faces there.
No, in fact, you can see many times throughout the series that they're trying not to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
But you could tell that even they were, entertained there on the set by what he was saying and the way he acts. So rather than listening to the robot's lesson on horticulture, Dr. Smith storms off and notices this machine here. And of course, the first thing he does is, which we should not do, and we've all been told, don't touch alien equipment, which is the first thing he does is start flipping switches and knobs. And when he does, the image is, it's got apparently a television screen on the front. And it's apparently it changes when he turns the knobs and switches. So he's thinking that it's I guess like a modern day futuristic etch a sketch because he thinks it's actually making paintings.
Yeah, he thinks it's an image generator or something, doesn't he, at the start?
Yes.
Yeah, he seems
remember-
very he must be sure of himself because normally he'd be too afraid to do something that is like he doesn't know what this thing is actually going to do. So in order for it to make any sense, he has to be certain that this is just a picture generator.
Right. I don't think he actually uses the word printer. So I think that I think from what they describe it as, it's just so you can view it.
Well, he does say that, you pick the picture you want, and then you
Actually,
press
it
another
does say
button,
printer.
and it'll print
does say
print out
printer?
for you. Yeah, he says
Yes.
it would print what
That's
you
right.
choose,
Okay.
I think. But
Good. Yeah, because I was thinking that. That's right. He did.
oh, that Dr. Smith never learns,
But he
never
can't keep his
touch
hand to himself.
touch alien artifacts.
Well, he's
or
become a
machines.
toddler.
Yeah, yeah, he's a toddler.
It's almost like almost every episode, it seems, it starts off with Dr. Smith doing something like this with alien technology and getting everybody into deep trouble.
But it does have precedence. There's that time he was in that spaceship with all these buttons, and he thought, well, I could fly this thing. This can't be too hard. Having no clue how to do it.
Oh boy.
And just,
Right,
oh, that was the keeper. Instead, he released all of the.
He released all
The
the
animals.
critters,
Oh yeah, yeah. That was pretty good actually.
including the giant spider.
That's right. Our good friend the spider, which makes multiple appearances.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And of course, they warn him, but the last thing he's going to do is heed their warnings or listen to anything that they have to say or any common sense. So he turns a red knob, and then we get this appears.
The beautiful D. Hartford painted silver.
Sister-in-law of Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how she basically got the part, was because Groucho Marx and Urban Allen were good friends.
I wondered about the silver paint. Like, it wouldn't. You think it might have been toxic, or would have been reasonably
No.
safe? Or
No, they learned their lesson from the Wizard of Oz when it almost killed Buddy Epson.
yeah, because I
That
was
was
kind of thinking of that when I
Yeah, that
watched
was a
this.
big time in history where they actually had to go back and really be very, very careful with the makeup and the base that it was made out of.
Buddy
Wait.
Epson wasn't in the film because of that, right? Because he couldn't handle
Correct.
the makeup.
That's right.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened to Buddy Elson?
The silver makeup for the Tin Man, since he was the original actor cast. The only thing is,
Yeah.
they used aluminum dust in the makeup, and they had it applied as a powder, and
Yes.
that got into his lungs, and basically his lungs practically shut down, and he was in an oxygen tent for several weeks in the hospital,
Wow.
because that's
Yes.
what happened. It sent him to the hospital. And with Jack Haley, who replaced him, they determined, if we're going to use aluminum dust, we have to put in a paste, and they applied it with a paste, but still it irritated Haley's eyes occasionally, and he did get an eye infection. They had to shut
Ouch.
down for a week at least.
Yeah, he said that it was happening because he couldn't avoid sweating, and when he sweat, it would run into his eyes, and that's
Yeah.
and in his mouth, it still got in his orifices, I guess you could say.
So I guess
Yeah.
this is like more just some kind of like actual paint without any aluminum
Yeah.
content. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
this is nearly 20 years later, so it's probably a completely different
Yeah.
basically, different, made up of different ingredients by then, I'm sure.
Well, I'm just trying to think of when acrylic paint came into existence because I think it might have been in the 60s at some point. Because I mean, since I, did my fine arts training, I used acrylic paint quite often, and I'm thinking, that might have been reasonably safe if they, they'd have to dilute it, of course, to get it thin enough to apply to her face like this. But I think it might have come in around the mid 60s. So that's one thing I was kind of guessing they might have done, but I mean, I'm not sure.
All right.
Pop and PvP, you guys fans of Irwin Allen's The Time Tunnel?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Dee Hartford portrayed Helen of Troy in that
Oh.
particular episode of Time Tunnel.
Hmm.
That's right. Yes, and she was
Wow.
also in the very last episode of the Twilight Zone, the Bewitching Pool. She played the
Yeah.
mother of the kids that jumped in the pool and went into the other dimension or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So, should we catch up on chat here real quick before we keep going?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chat Master Gorilla.
All right. Geek Flag says it was the Buster Crab version,
Thank you.
and I just figured Smith was napping while making the kids work. Yeah. Well, gotta put those kids to work, especially in the mines. They're Krogan kids.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, perhaps our sleepers are actually contributing to alternative realities. And says, and hey there, Gorilla's random thoughts. Did you get your banana milkshakes today? Yes, I did. I had a whole bunch of them. I just started lobbing them at people.
Oh, you really are a gorilla.
Hey, I could have been throwing other things at them, but yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Says Geek said maybe the rocks on the planet perform the same task as plants do here, taking in carbon dioxide and producing oxygen.
Rocks. Yeah, you know what? I thought about the rocks too, but I have a different answer, which I will reveal later on in the episode.
Oh, good point.
All right, so sci-fi
Becomes a big deal for me, even though it's just like a few seconds in the teaser.
Other Greg says, I bet Lemon has the same alien device at his house. Then sci-fi says, pop culture. Smith is like switches. I love switches and turns them all to see what happens.
Exactly.
Oh, those guys.
Right. You just know what any of them do, but it's why not, right?
Yeah, when I read that, I first thought of a different kind of switch. The older generation will know what I'm talking about. Other Greg says silicone life forms geek flag. Then other Greg says sweet spider action. Edge of Time says it's a sacred geometry calculator that can divide by the golden ratio. Okay then. Then Oil Greg says time tunnel. And Sci-Fi says PvP fine arts, you say. So I guess you're an art snob then?
Not really. I think a lot of stuff in the contemporary art world is kind of ridiculous, actually, some of it. So I'm not really a traditionalist, but I look at a lot of stuff, even when I was at art school, like, back like 30 something years ago, there was a lot of stuff I thought even going on back in those days in the 80s that, well, I thought was kind of silly, to be quite frankly, some of it. But I mean, you got to take a look at art history to kind of figure out, what's kind of interesting and seems worthwhile and what seems like just complete, junk and just seems like it's there to, get controversy or whatever, attention. So, yeah, I'm not really an art snob.
PvP, ask me what my definition of art is.
Oh, what is your definition of art, Stone Racket?
Something I could not do in my spare time.
Okay, well, that's good. I could agree with that. But I mean, I think people that are like amateur artists that just do it for a hobby and just do it because they enjoy it without any intention of ever maybe showing it to anybody. I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's cool. even people who do paint by numbers. I mean, I can't fault them for that. If it gives them some creative expression, right? You know, it's like I have no problem with that. It's like, why not? You know.
All righty. So, Geek Flag here says The Wizard of Oz was a cursed production. It's a miracle that movie got made.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. There's a one scene in The Wizard of Oz though that's ranked as one of the most paused moments in movie history.
Really?
Yeah, it's something about if you looked in the background there's something in the background with
That's not, yeah, but it's not true. That's been proved
Yeah,
false.
that
They
yeah.
thought it's just a rumor somebody made up that somebody hung themselves and
yeah
they were
that,
hanging in the background while they
Really?
were,
yeah
yeah,
that's
while
a
they,
yeah. They said if you look closely, there's a munchkin that hung themselves, and it's like no,
Oh
it's just one.
no.
no,
It's just one of the peacocks that are in the background moving around.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
but that turned into one of the most paused moments in all of cinema history.
so it's kind of like an urban myth kind of thing, then, kind
yes,
of.
urban
Yeah,
legend, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
Just
yeah,
like where Judy Garland was high and she was on a talk show, and they asked her what it was like to work with the Munchkins, and she started exaggerating and saying a lot of bad things about them, derogatory,
Really? That's
and
sad.
that stuck with it. And to this day, most people believe that about the actors who played the Munchkins.
I thought the Munchkins were pretty cool people, weren't they? From what I've ever,
They put them all in one hotel. They only had problems with one or two because they were drinking. But she made it sound like all of them were having problems, like they were having a big orgy and they were drinking and raising hell and
Oh,
all this crazy stuff.
well, Judy was one to talk, eh? You know.
yeah,
Like I said,
really.
she was loaded on the talk show when she said it. It was like Tonight Show
Uh,
or something, and
that's
it was
sad.
you could
Yeah, I
it was
think it was with Jack Parr.
yeah,
Uh,
Really?
I believe it
yeah, and
was.
she just they kind of I can't remember who asked her if it was Jack or one of the other guests. Well, I
Hmm.
heard that the Munchkins were drinking all night, and she goes, "Yeah, they did this," and and it's like, no, not
Right.
at all.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know why people do stuff like that and make stuff up like that. It's,
Well, it was a combination. It was first of all, like I said, she was extremely loaded. You could tell, but also she was saying a joke. I don't know if she meant for it to go down in history as most people believing that it was fact, but
oh.
that is what happened inadvertently.
Hmm.
Yeah,
uh,
that reminds me of the urban legend in Three Men and a Baby, where they say that there's a ghost, but it's just a cardboard cutout.
From a
Yeah.
previous scene that was cut out of the movie. Yes.
all right. So, and welcome the man of many words, Cody guy.
Cody
Cody.
guy, hello, hello. Good to see you. Hope
Hello.
you're doing well.
Yeah, Edgar Time says space spiders are the worst.
Yes,
And-
they are.
And I dropped a box of spaghetti and accidentally graduated from art school.
Well, I don't know about that. That's a little bit insulting, honestly, Edge. A little bit.
Well,
It's not quite
well,
that easy.
yeah, well, PvP.
But it's funny.
Well,
Oh, it's
PvP.
funny, but I don't think it's too accurate. I hope he's making that as a joke. I assume he is.
Well,
Of
PvP.
course, it's a joke.
Hey,
Okay,
I got-
I guess I'm sensitive. Like I spent 4 years working my butt off to get a bachelor's degree in art. So, sorry.
hey, PvP.
Yo.
I got a piece in the New York Natural Art Museum though.
Did you?
Yeah. I took a picture of some cream of chicken there to ask the wife if this was the correct stuff, and so they printed it out and hung it up in the museum.
There you go.
And I have no talent for painting, drawing, or any of that sort of thing.
Yeah. And
I will admit.
Yeah. Well, Gregson, surprisingly, most buyers prefer traditional art. Greg says, hello, Edge.
Oh,
No one
boy.
likes a snobby spider. Very true, Edge. And welcome, Captain Von Doomfinity Temporis Maximus.
Hello, Captain. Good to see you. I'm going to be covering a movie here soon on our horror sci-fi stream, Captain, in the near future within the next couple of weeks. It'd be great if you could join us. So consider that an open invitation.
All right. He says,
And-
otherwise known as a lie.
Yes.
Jill, were you gonna say something?
Oh yeah, well the spider could very well be an art critic because we just found out in the last episode that the spider's sapient because it was part of the jury to try Dr. Smith.
Yes, for all his
Alright.
heinous crimes.
All right, so sci-fi said, did any you check out my list of the worst of the best shark movies on the YouTube channel? Yes, I did, and I pretty much agreed with the list almost.
I watched it earlier today, Sci-Fi Dan.
Yeah.
No, I have to check that out. I didn't know that was posted.
Yeah, it was similar to that Star Wars one he was showing us the other night, but this is his Star Trek list.
Yeah, I remember the Star Wars one. Yeah.
Yeah. Geek says, I once had an art teacher in high school threaten to physically assault me because I said I don't like Vincent Van Gogh.
And that's a bit much, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Well,
I
people,
actually do like Vincent Van Gogh, though. I think he was pretty good artist.
didn't he chop off his ear though?
Yeah, he. I think. Well, he had. I think what we would call today would be called, schizophrenia. He had, some issues, and he actually, I guess, he had an argument. Oh gosh, what's the other artist? He had a big admiration for another artist that he invited to, come and live with him for a while, and they actually got
Gauguin.
along. Gauguin, that's the guy
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, and they got along, for I guess some months quite well, and then they had a falling out, I guess, one day, and Vincent, I believe it was his earlobe that he cut off, not his entire ear, if I remember correctly. But yeah, poor Vincent. He did not have a easy life at all. But I think he really did produce some beautiful art. Ahead of his time too. That's the problem. I think he sold like what $100 worth of art in his lifetime. And of course, now his painting, his catalog of paintings are worth billions now. So poor Vincent, the guy that produced the stuff, never made much off it, but other people have.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, and Greg says we're slashing prices. All art must go.
I remember a skit
Yeah.
on some show about that once. It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
I know there was a great skit on Amazon Women on the Moon.
Oh, really?
Where everything on a museum was on sale and all the prices were slashed. You get the Mona Lisa for like $1.99.
Did you hear about that incident with the Mona Lisa about a week ago where some
Yes.
activists threw soup at it? Luckily, it's protected behind glass. but
Yeah, it's those stupid stop oil protesters.
so ignorant. I couldn't
Sure.
believe it. It's like,
Doesn't
come
make any
on.
They
sense.
need, they
Well,
need
no,
to make
we'll
it. They need to really, really give them really extremely harsh penalties. That's the problem. The penalties are not harsh enough.
Well, what I couldn't understand is what does the Mona Lisa have to do with the oil industry? Like,
Nothing.
seriously?
It's
I mean,
just-
I'm sure I was painted with oil paints, so imagine, but it's like, really?
No,
You know?
it's like when they block traffic in cars. It's just to
Oh.
gain attention. Is all it is.
They're
But
just
they have-
having tantrums.
But they don't have any problem, I'm guessing, going to the local supermarket and buying groceries that was transported there by trucks
I know.
running on oil.
Or wear clothing that was produced and made out of oil. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Geek says, and the actress who played the Wicked Witch got third-degree burns by the pyrotechnics.
I do
Yes,
remember
Margaret
that.
Hamilton when she
Yeah.
spun around and they lowered her down under the floor.
Yeah. Captain says, I'd be honored, Pop.
That'd be great. And it's a movie you have not seen. I've asked you about it before, Captain. I think you might be interested. We'll talk about it ahead of time so you can
All right.
be prepared.
And sit there, it says, Gorilla Thoughts. Wow, we agree on my ranks of the Star Trek movies. Thanks. And not a problem. Then Captain says, the Mona Lisa don't apparently Star Trek is like painting completely subjective FFS.
Yeah, that's true.
I have no idea. The art was only worth $100 until Biden inflation increased it to several $1 billion. All right, we're all caught up. Let's get on with this here.
Yeah, this
So-
episode, right? They say it's the funny thing is that they say psychic frequency instead of brain waves, and
I,
then this robot is telepathic.
Yeah, this android, she says, I am yours forever. I want Judy Robinson to say that to me. Oh, you guys didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
That's the weird thing about it is that Dr. Smith doesn't really seem to want the android because, and it's weird because there was a previous episode where he wanted a slave, like he tried to make
Yes.
one.
The servant, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
And
think
didn't
that's
it-
why. I know it was kind of rushed in this episode, but I think that's why. At first, they established it where he was giving her errands, to, like like soak his feet in water, and all that. But I think because due to an hour-long show and them trying to get through the plot really quick, I think is why he started with getting the foot bath to. He seemed like he didn't want her around because I think she was making mistakes, and I think that's part of the reason why he said she was defective.
Yeah,
oh,
well,
sure, definitely. His reactions later on make sense. Just
Well-
initially being, I was just talking about the initial
Oh,
introduction
yeah.
to her.
Yes, I agree.
she did say like her what was it? Her left hand would heat the water, and her right hand would cool it, or whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She had heat coils in one and freezing coils in the other.
Okay,
Yeah, so
everyone quiet. Judy Robinson actually has some dialogue
oh
in this
wow,
episode.
Yeah, 2 scenes back to back. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
everybody gets to shine in this
And it wasn't just about, what she's making for dinner.
or her hair
or coffee.
or coffee.
No, she's
Right.
all of her lines actually pertain to the plot.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
sweet.
don't forget, there's also laundry as well to be done. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and I like how the laundry comes out in plastic bags.
Now,
Yeah,
I wish. Yeah,
I wish
me
that
too.
I could have that all nice and folded and
That'd be awesome.
oh my goodness, there's raptors on this planet. No.
Uh-oh.
Not quite that.
No.
T-Rexes. They're T-Rexes. The T-Rex footprint.
Now, one thing that was frustrating, Pop, about Mark Cushman's book is he tells us that the original drawings and artwork for the monster, CBS nixed. He said that's too scary, but he doesn't have a picture of
Exactly,
in
I
his
was reading
book.
that
I'm
too,
like, well, what
right?
did it look like? I want to see the original design.
Yeah,
'cause-
because this one's cute.
yeah, it's too cute. Yeah, I
Right,
want
it
a
was
scary
supposed
monster.
to, right, according to the description, it was supposed to shoot flames out of his eyes. But
Oh,
you're
cool.
right. I was hoping there would have been a sketch or something, but no.
Yeah.
The sketch must be long lost. Then I'm guessing.
Yeah,
right?
but he says it was. I mean, it's like he has seen it the way he wrote it.
Oh,
But I don't know.
hmm.
I don't know. That could be that it's long gone.
Right.
Okay, there's confusion in the chat. I don't mean to get ahead. I'm not
Uh-oh.
No,
meaning it,
no,
but
it's fine,
we're
Jill.
talking about a monster that shows up later, not the android.
No, not the android.
Yes.
And so we're calling the monster an it because we don't know its gender.
Well, the
No, we
android's
know
not
who
ready.
played it.
Hey, Jill. You looking at it, you can obviously tell what its gender is.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Well, in Pop's background image, for this
Thumbnail.
live stream, your thumbnail. Yeah, pardon me. The monster is plainly seen.
Yes, I
Pretty
did
cool
like.
monster.
I thought it was kind of. I don't want to be derogatory, but I thought it was kind of silly, but yet funny. I like the appear. And we don't get to see the monster very long. It only gets 2 appearances in this episode, only for a few
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah,
It comes out long enough to say hello there. Bye.
Yeah.
I did like the
We
glowing
did, like-
eyes. The glowing eyes were fun.
Well, also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a scene we can't see here because due to the slides. But when the monster moves from left to right, the eyes they're like googly eyes. They're just hanging there and suspended.
And I just love that's one thing I kind of love about Lost in Space is they'll bring a monster in for 5-10 seconds in an episode, and then we never see the monster again, like in the whole series, right?
Correct.
It's like these monsters they're coming and going right and left and center in these shows, and we never see them again. It's just it's kind
Well,
of
sometimes
hilarious.
we do. We did in Prisoners of Space. They all banded together and they all
Yeah.
had parties. They get to talk to Smith.
Yeah, occasionally, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but
And the
generally,
keeper. The keeper was another example.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, there are
Um,
exceptions, of course. Yeah.
background note here: the week that this episode, the Android Machine, aired on CBS, a voice of discontent was heard
Oh.
via a blurb in various newspapers across America under the heading of "Unhappy Star." It was reported that Mark Goddard requested to be let go from his starring role in Lost in Space because he's very unhappy with things. He says that they just don't give him enough to do. Goddard would not be released from his contract, but in time there would be a slight shift back in his direction in the story department. So he complained, and we're in the future now. I guess they kind of told him, okay, we'll give you a little more to do, because so now we know this is when the complaints were starting.
And now, as we see here, Verda is magic. She can make the bulletin board all of a sudden, be three-dimensional and moving, and almost like a flat screen TV here.
Seriously, I thought that was like a chalkboard there.
Well, what's interesting? The reason why it looks the way it did is I was looking here, and they had planned on it looking and being much more elaborate.
Okay.
But due to cost and budget constraints, this is the reason why it looks like what it does, which is actually is more realistic and in line with what modern day televisions look like. Because if you remember, whenever they show a monitor on this show, like on the front of the the intergalactic ordering device, whatever it has a frame around it like a television screen. Because we kind of joked about that before in previous episodes. So, but this is the closest they've got to depicting an actual, like what our modern day televisions look like. It's just not widescreen.
And Verda, she took the robot's pointer. We'll be hearing more about that.
Right.
She took my pointer.
Poor robot.
Poor robot. Yeah.
For the Android Machine, Guy Williams, Mark Goddard, Billy Mooney, Angela Cartwright, Jonathan Harris, Bob May, and guest player Dee Hartford were all making $1,000, and they
That's
were all
pretty good.
scheduled. Oh yeah, especially if you convert that to today's, that's not too bad in today's money. They were all scheduled for 6 days of filming. June Lockhart, as well as Fritz Feld, who we will be introduced to soon, were each making $850. And Tiger Joe Marsh, who plays the bodyguard, is actually a boxer. We'll go more into that, from the 1940s. And he was made $500, and he was scheduled for 3 days each. And here's what Stone Racket was talking about. And this is verbatim from the book and limited to this is all we know. The original artist's sketch of the cave monster were far more frightening than what was realized. CBS would never have sat still for a creature as depicted in the artist's renditions. And that's the only mention. So unfortunately, we won't know.
Unfortunately, we don't get the original artwork for that. That would be so cool to see.
So here we have Berta giving them instructions on basically intergalactic history. And this should be around the point where June and Maureen come out. I'm sorry. I always get the actors' names mixed up with the character names, but we get, there we go. Oh, this is after Dr. Smith made the bet. That's right. Dr. Smith did make the bet about Columbus with the robot, and Dr. Smith had it off by a year.
That was hilarious.
As his punishment, he had to sit and join the kids for the lesson. And he did momentarily, but then eventually left. And now we have Marie and Judy, if I get the names right, come out, and they notice that Berta is teaching the kids. And I thought this was interesting because Judy mentions, shouldn't they be learning about Earth history first? And it was odd because Marie says no. Since their future is going to be in space, they should. I'm paraphrasing, but since their future is going to be in space, then maybe they should learn about space before they learn about Earth. And I thought that was odd.
But, she embarrassed me. She took my pointer. That's the biggest laugh out of me when I was watching it.
That's the last straw.
The robot is getting very human-like and emotional as season 2 progresses, isn't he? Like, really, it's like pretty good.
Yeah, he's indignant and jealous.
Yeah, and he's embarrassed too. Just that's not good.
And I wish we could cover all the barbs that Dr. Smith throws at him because I mean this episode is no shortage of them. There's a lot of
Oh
hilarious
yeah,
things.
yeah. The writers are getting pretty good at that by this point in the
Tyrus
series.
of Thesaurus, right? It's like a whole bunch. Yeah, it's like it never gets old.
Oh boy.
Garius Gremlin.
Right. So yeah, here's where yeah the robot unfortunately is very disappointed because she took away his pointer and thereby also taking away his job instructing the kids, which apparently he enjoyed doing. A mechanical maid servant behind. See, yeah, this is where he's turning and not liking her, and it does seem kind of sudden within the episode. So now what they're attempting here is to try to send her back. But then apparently some sort of alien creature appears on the mail order machine, and then robot warns him, danger, danger, so they quickly shut down the machine. And another thing where they had to balance budget with practicality were the appearances of the various costumes and faces and creatures on the mechanical device, on the mail order machine. So that's why they decided to use paintings. That was a budget constraint. And there's the monster we were talking about.
Danger, danger.
And of course, we all know who played the monster, Dawson Palmer, of course, our resident alien.
All right. Can we catch up on some of these chats? We got flooded with a ton of them.
Oh, but okay.
Thank you, Gorilla. Yes, good idea.
Yeah, Captain says, I know art is subjective, but nobody is claiming the Enterprise ain't there. Okay. And Captain says, hey, call me Rick Deckard, but something about that big silver dude. I ain't altogether convinced they are human.
He just may not be, at least not physically.
Yeah, better run the VK machine on him. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Voice comp.
Call it
Blade-
an instinct.
Blade
that'll-
Runner.
Okay. Smith is surprisingly hard to pigeonhole. He switches between attitudes and reactions.
Oh, that is true. Yes, good point.
Yeah, Grimlock print. And her rather it.
Oops, sorry.
Ouch.
The Captain says,
Knocked
nice
over
rack.
my soda. That's not a good thing to do. Oh, well.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
that's not good.
Captain says, nice rack for a mech.
No, I'm sorry.
And Captain says, actually, the robot does look human. Better get the VK. And welcome, Cam. Just welcome.
Hey, Cam. Hope you're doing well.
Hi, everyone on the panel in the chat. Just up to say hi, drop a like, have fun. You
Hi,
too.
Cam.
Good to
Cam,
see you.
Cam.
Glad you can make it by.
And Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars, gave us a bunch of cupcakes.
All right.
Greg says, hey, Cam, thanks for coming by. Mr. Swift.
Oops.
And Captain says, she's trying so hard to look like a robot P. She's definitely human. Captain says, no robot has ace jugs like those.
Well, Andrea the android sure did.
Yeah. And then Edge of Time says, I'm contemplating a chronological Star Trek viewing. I have Paramount, but they might get bought out, and who knows if they would want to pay for the new service. Any Enterprise watch parties happening? Bird did his, but
He's still doing Enterprise. Is he doing
no,
that every
he's on
Wednesday?
DS9. Is he on it? Oh wait.
He finished DS9. He's on Enterprise.
But he hasn't done
So,
one
yeah,
in a lot. He
Bird of Prey
hasn't done
5.
one in like a month or two.
Yeah, but there's a backlog, I guess. If I don't know if he makes those easy to find.
Yeah. Captain says production order or release order. Well, I don't think the Enterprise. I don't think it matters there. And Captain says or in canon order, starting with Enterprise. Yeah, he's wanting canon order.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds like he's trying to watch it in chronological order for hopefully just real Star Trek, but of course if you want to watch other stuff you can, because then it gets complicated and gross. But for real Star Trek, yeah, just Enterprise, TOS, and TNG. And well, chronologically though, TNG overlaps with Deep Space Nine, overlaps with Voyager. So if you do that, it'll get kind of messy there too. But
Yeah, it could
oh
get
no,
pretty complicated.
Edge
Hey,
of Time
hey,
is including non Star Trek Star Trek. So
Oh,
hey,
okay.
hey,
so
Jill.
he's gonna do Enterprise and then Discovery. Oh my goodness.
My
Well,
sympathies.
okay, if Cam wants it, I can get you a list that shows what order to watch everything. I just seen it not too long ago. And Retcon Section 31 says Captain. Yes, I think so, Captain. Which one? He's
Well, according to
laughing.
Daniel's Hot Topics, he said they began filming Section 31 movie this past
Hmm.
week.
Unfortunately, this is true.
Yeah. So, and it says, I'm going to take off, have fun. I give it a B. I used to watch this every Saturday on METV after TOS.
All right. Have a great night, Cam. Cam, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Later,
Jill,
Kim.
Jill, you
Right.
want to read this?
Hello.
Hello,
Yeah,
Taylor
that's it.
Swift.
Yeah, not as enthusiastic as he usually is. And as the time says, I mean by chronological star dates.
Oh wow.
There's your homework.
Boy, you really want to make it complex, don't you? It's like, wow, that is ambitious, I gotta say.
Hey, anytime you might want to lay off of Grandpa's cough syrup there a little bit.
Oh,
The
that
captain
is
says, "Okay, that dude with the glass head, definitely not sure if he's human." He says, "Oh, so Enterprise first time completed with all the canon breaking retcons, huh?" And Edge Time says, "Might be painful. Not everyone who tries the long trek can stomach it, but now seems as good as time as any to try. 1,000
oh boy.
plus episodes." The
Wow.
captain says, "What about the DSB episode where Cisco time travels back to Kirk and the Tribbles? Does that get stuck into the OST rewatch?"
Yeah, Captain Cisco was always there throwing tribbles. Anyway,
Okay.
Well, it's good that then you go into the actual Tribbles episode, Double Tribbles, and
he was always there.
add those other characters in the background.
Yeah. And Edge Time says, "It's Discovery that worries me. It's an early reality check or not reality check, depending. No, what you do is the first two seasons you watch before TOS, then the last two seasons there you watch last."
Oh, so you're not having a balance in between each episode on each series, right? Like, so this episode of DS9 happened, and then this episode of TNG happened, and back to an episode of DS. So you're not going exactly in order, right?
And the list breaks it up. It breaks it up in by order of seasons too. So like when you
Got it.
got the overlaps, they tell you
Yeah.
which seasons overlap and everything. And Captain says, "I haven't seen that list, but I already disagree with it." Yeah,
Well, does
but
that mean that Worf disappears from the Enterprise for a while? Well, he's at DS9.
no,
And I haven't seen
no,
DS9, but
no. After season 7 of TG wrapped up, he transferred to DS9.
okay, got ya. But what about the movies? He went back to the Enterprise for the movies.
Yeah, it's the
For one
movies where
movie.
it gets a little silly. Like, oh, he just happened to be around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Greg says, "Right, Captain." And Waving, LOL. All right. Jill through the tribbles, says Oiler Greg.
I did.
And always there equals closed loop equals more Star Trek internal consistencies. The captain says, "Captain, we always change the laws of physics."
Yeah, that
And
sounds about right.
Greg says, "Correct. Or to be damn TOS fit." All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. So here's where we have the menacing monster come out from the cave. And unfortunately, Dr. Smith is so overwhelmed in fear, he freezes in his tracks and decides to just pass out. The robot shoots all the monsters. Now, remember at this point, all the monster has done is just stepped out and then stopped. And so we do get a blast from the robot defending Dr. Smith, and the monster retreats back into the cave.
So this scary cave monster never actually attacks. It just
No,
it just
Right,
it just
like-
looks
yeah,
it just looks cute.
yeah, just like previous monsters from the show, it could have been asking for help. It could have said, "Hey, I've got a baby back here. Can you help me?"
So I know that's probably because of the sensors, and that's exactly what you explained. But I thought that there could have been a way for it to be creative. I like the idea of the fire eyes. I wonder why that didn't make it.
It could at least raise its arms higher. And that may have been looked a little more menacing because honestly, it was holding its arms out at waist level, almost like it wanted a hug.
So this is the part where So what I was really hoping for, because this episode sparked my imagination, I was hoping to learn that he was a living plant creature, and that's why the plants don't expel oxygen.
Oh,
And really, it's the animals who breathe, because they're all really like animals who breathe oxygen. So it's kind of backwards, and so you can have the animals who do the reverse, and they breathe carbon dioxide.
that would have been nice.
Yeah, and so that could explain how the planet still has a breathable atmosphere. And even though that would be silly, it would fit with Lost in Space pretty well.
If you need to take care of the young one, Jill, it's understandable.
Oh yes, I do. But I did
Okay.
want to make that point before we moved on away from the monster. I'll be right back.
All right, go for it. Thank you.
It's too bad Jill wasn't around back then, because she probably would have been better at writing some of these episodes than some of the writers. She's got it figured
absolutely.
out pretty good.
Well, like
That
they
was-
say here, like I read earlier, they're not really, and they do admit they weren't concerned with scientific accuracy. At
True.
least not nearly as much as Star Trek was, right?
Oh yeah.
Apparently, that Tony Wilson, remember, he's the one that polishes the script, and
Mm.
Irwin Allen, they were both very fond of the Duncans. The story, from what they thought, it had imagination and heart. It also had a strong theme, providing lessons to be learned by Verta, by the Galactic Store representative, and by Maureen. As a result, there are lessons for the viewer too. To add more action and danger element beyond the appearance of the cave monster, the officious character, later named Zumdish, was given a pair of guards, and the hunt for the android was on. Then, in a cost-cutting measure, the 2 guards were reduced to 1. So, as you can see, I mean, they were cutting the budget as they were going. And just like with Space Circus, the script was a lot more elaborate than what we eventually get here on film. And the reason why I said the name eventually was Zumdish was originally they were going to call him Franklin Pangborn. It was a comedic actor who was famous in the 30s and 40s for playing a certain type of character. But they decided to change that to Zumdish. So that's the reason why I brought that up. And I want to see if I can cover that here really quick. Bear with me, y'all. Apparently, Verta was also married to Howard Hawks for a while there, the famous director. I don't know if any of you guys remember. For example, he did The Thing from Another World.
Yeah.
That was Christian Nyby that did that. He produced it.
Produced it. Yes, thank you.
But there is controversy, just like with Poltergeist, that did Howard Hawks actually do some directing as well? You know, but Howard Hawks, Red River, and Rio Bravo, and El Dorado, and His Girl Friday, a great screwball comedy.
Yeah,
He
that's a
directed
good one.
that.
Yeah, that's a really good film.
And I want to mention Dee Hartford, who played Verta. With 33, when she played the character, the silver-skinned android, she was the sister-in-law, like I said, of Groucho Marx, and appeared with him in 1952's A Girl in Every Port, which was co-produced by Irvin Allen. It was at that time her first known screen appearance after gaining attention in the late 1940s as a model for Vogue magazine. She did marry Howard Hawks, but they were only married from 1953 to 1959. And apparently she met her demise also in the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. In the episode of Day of Reckoning, a 1962 episode, she played Felicity Sampson, an unfaithful wife who, after getting in an argument with her husband, gets shoved off his boat. And I have that show. I love the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. I need to go and watch that again. So here we are with Berta talking to the girls. And the girls they mentioned that they want to take Berta in and beautify her, I guess you could say. I'm trying to paraphrase what they were describing. But they made it sound like they were going to add makeup and stuff to her. But I don't see any change in her appearance. You guys, she looks the exact same, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see any change.
Right. So I don't know if it was
Yeah, nothing happens.
right. Maybe they had it written, but they didn't include the scene. Because think about it, she was wearing that silver makeup. If they would have tried to apply makeup on top of that, all they're going to get is a smearing mess.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's why we didn't actually see it on camera.
Yeah, it could have looked kind of silly too, right?
It would have ruined the makeup that she has on here. And that device that Dr. Smith has for extracting water from a rock was another cost-cutting measure. That's another device that was much more elaborate than the script.
That's hilarious. Smith's device is hilarious.
And it's funny, of course, he can't get it to work, but Berta is able to.
I wouldn't want Dr. Smith as my plumber. I'll tell you that right now.
And certainly, this is another example of why he's losing patience with her. Because the water accidentally dumps inside of his boot.
Oh, yeah.
Another fine example of the robot laughing.
Yes.
Don't piss off the AI. They'll get you in any way they can.
True. And here's where Dr. Smith, of course, like he hasn't learned his lesson yet, decides to go back and start messing with the machine again. And what he does is he pulls up some costumes and clothing that he's interested in getting, which we will see what happens with that. And Berta, in the meantime, is still exploring with Will and Penny the flora and fauna of the planet. And she tells them that there's a plant here, but it's so small and microscopic they are unable to see it. So with the wave of her hand, she's able to magnify and enlarge it. And they're having a great time. So they're laughing, and she asks Will, what is that on his face? And Penny explains that it's a smile because he's laughing. So she's interested in and learning about human emotions, which apparently her model is not supposed to be doing. Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, and oh, right, I still have the wrong avatar on here. But the thing is, it makes sense that she's experiencing emotions, kind of going through the same thing that the robot's going through in terms of evolution. But you could argue that she doesn't know why she doesn't know what laughing is, but the previous scene made such a big deal about her knowledge base that she should know technically what laughing is, like the technicalities of emotion, but just not what they're going to do to her or how they make her feel. So I think this part is kind of weird.
I guess that's true. I guess maybe it shows a limit in her programming.
Well, she's supposed to be isn't she supposed to be a more basic model at this point in the episode? And then we learn different things later on.
Right. That's what Zumdish eventually points out.
Yes.
That's not really clear either. Like, how does she evolve? Well, I guess it's kind of like Bicentennial Man, but
well, when she's evolving, and once
she should know technically what a laugh is,
right?
If she doesn't,
and we'll get to the scene obviously.
Anyway, that's what I think.
Well, maybe she might technically understand what a laugh is, but she might not understand why.
No, she's literally saying she doesn't know what it is here.
Yeah. Mm.
Picky,
That's
I-
what I would
picky.
think.
I love
I
this
am.
part. This part with Smith's costume. I mean, why did he order it since he obviously doesn't seem to like it? That's one part that puzzled me.
Like I thought about that too. It's like a child. You know, I
Yeah,
want that. I want that. I want that. As soon as they get that, I don't want that.
Yeah.
but
What
why
makes it
can't?
funny is he's unable to remove it too. He can't even take the hat
Yeah,
off.
it's like that doesn't make sense. That's where I get nitpicky. Why can't he remove his hat?
It seems odd. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's just that, Data knows what emotions are. He just can't experience them.
this is not Star Trek.
I know it's not.
I did like the thing with the plants, so this was kind of cool because they were like invisible, weren't they, before she made them invisible? That
Well,
was
Microscopic.
not this example. This is one of Dr. Smith's,
Traps.
his trap.
Right. He laid a trap in. I know we kind of skipped over it, but what Dr. Smith did when he realized there was that monster in the
Now
cave.
it's
Oh, God.
growling. That
Right.
means danger. I don't
Yes.
think he wants a hug, but you never know.
Right.
that's pretty funny.
And
It's
it's gonna advance on you extremely slowly. Be sure to stroll away quickly.
And then, and then instead of actually hurting you, he'll just leave, It's like a trope in Lost in Space, isn't it? To get a weird looking monster, some part of a lot of episodes, and they actually never really hurt anybody.
Well, that's CBS. We can't
Family
scare the
hour.
little ones.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
7:30
true.
p.m. Right. 7:30. So he's definitely right in the middle of family hour.
Yeah. So make it scary, but not too scary.
Now, this is an interesting sequence.
Ooh, that's cool.
John zaps it with the laser rifle, but it
Yeah.
makes the dematerialization Lost in Space sound like it just pops out of existence instead of. So it's like, well, wait a minute, did it disappear or did the laser?
Right.
It's like, wait a minute.
It just scared it away again.
Yeah, it's like boom.
Maybe it's got some
Oh,
ability
it
to like.
transported.
Well,
It
yeah, maybe it
transported.
transported into another dimension, perhaps even. Maybe that's why we never see it again. It went to another dimension.
Yeah, this is a cool scene between Verda and John Robinson.
I have to take care of something. I'll be back.
Go for it. Yeah, this is a good scene. This is where John Robinson is starting to realize how protective Berta is getting over the children.
Yeah, I really like this. Everybody has a nice scene or two. The supporting cast, and everybody gets to do a little something. I like that in this episode.
Oh, I want to point out too, in an interview with Dee Hartford, the young lady playing Berta here, she says, I was playing an android with a silver face, and I am supposed to make my arrival in this tube during an explosion. Well, when I was in this tube, the explosion went off so close that I thought they were going to blow me up. They were so inept at that sort of thing. Because obviously, the reason why Lost in Space had a lot of on-set explosions was it saved a lot of money because they didn't have to add them in post-production in the effects department.
Yeah.
And plus, Irwin Allen loved explosions.
Yeah.
Just
And of
like
course,
you love.
Yeah, some dishes ship. It doesn't take off. It just there's an explosion and it's gone.
Well,
Right, that's what he said, right? Fritz Feld, the director. I'm sorry, Fritz Feld, the actor who plays Zumdish, in an interview, says that. He says, we always had explosions on Lost in Space. I would ride by elevator from heaven or some orbit with big explosions. Well, one day I wasn't working and I just came to visit. A tremendous explosion happened. So I went to the set and said, you better keep getting better and better at it. They said, shh, that was a real explosion. A guy got hurt and they just sent him to the hospital.
Oh man.
Well, that's Irwin, though. I mean, the three things, when I think of an Irwin Allen show, I think of explosions, weird monsters, and very cool ships.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yep. Very, very, very cool ships.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Jupiter 2,
that's
the
the
Seaview.
Yeah, the Jupiter 2, I think, is the masterpiece.
Yeah, but I mean, the Seaview and the Flying Sub are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
too.
those are cool.
I would have to say which includes the Jupiter 2, I would say the technology to a point. Like, not only is the Jupiter 2 a masterpiece, but I think the robot absolutely is as well.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
right, the ray guns they have look a little hokey. They look like something from Buck Rogers from the 1940s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the robot, I mean, it's just I think it's a masterpiece. It's like a piece
Yeah.
of art, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think B9's beautiful. Actually, I think he's gorgeous.
Speaking of the rifles, I prefer the silver rifles rather than those plastic looking, those darker.
From the first season.
Yeah, I mean it's just once in a while those will pop up,
Yeah, the
and they
black
and they have that little spinner top kind of thing on the end of the barrel.
Yes, I think what they may have done, because if I remember, I think that was early in the first season. I think it was because at the time they were just pulling props from different old shows and everything. But
Yeah,
I think as the show progressed, they started making their own props. So I think that's when they designed the silver ray gun with the red tip.
yeah,
That
I
seems to be something
yeah,
common in a lot of '60s shows, though, guys. Like they'd have like weapons. Like I remember, well, of course, obvious Star Trek. You got Phaser 1 and Phaser 2, which I think Phaser 2 is much cooler looking. But I even, thinking like a show like Man from Uncle, where the first season they had those, those long, remember those long guns where they had like a shoulder thing? You could put it, brace it against your shoulder, and then as the series went on, they got the smaller guns. Like it seemed to be a thing with a lot of shows back then, where the weaponry would change as the seasons went
yeah.
on.
I do like the laser pistols. Those are kind of cool.
Hmm.
I really wish they made a toy of that. It's like,
But it actually did for a while. I was just watching. There was a YouTube video. A collector of Lost in Space memorabilia, and he has a replica of the that he purchased of the ray gun, the silver one with the red tip, and it's autographed by Jonathan Harris.
Wow.
awesome, awesome,
So
awesome.
yeah, and I was thinking I would love to have that.
Boy, that's cool.
Do you
Hey.
guys remember the Remco series of spy toys that, like, they had a camera that turned
Oh
into a
yeah.
pistol,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the height of the spy craze in '66 and '67, and Remco had this series of toys that was just so cool.
Were those connected
Hey.
to any particular spy show at all?
No, it was
Scott?
just their own thing. And the
Ah.
thing is, I never got one of those. My brothers never got them, but all the neighbor kids had them.
Wow.
Right. Hey,
Jeez.
should we
Go
catch
ahead.
up on should we catch up on chat while Jill's away?
Yes, thank you, Gorilla. Appreciate
Sounds
it.
good.
Well,
All right,
Jill
yeah.
is on the away team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Captain here says always there. Retcon much, LOL. And it says 2003 was a shocking lesson in how eternally inconsistent and sloppy Star Trek is.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to argue that one.
Star Trek scientific accuracy. Blah. Taylor
No.
Swift says Car 54 is written with more scientific accuracy than Lost in Space.
Right, when I mentioned about the lack of accuracy here, and I wasn't exactly saying like Star Trek is like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I was just saying that because Star Trek was later on in the evening, from 9 to 10 p.m. rather than 7:30 to 8:30, is they thought it was considered for more of an adult audience, so they at least tried to be a more scientific than what Lost in Space was. I mean, obviously, yeah, a lot of it was fantasy and not accurate, but it was at least trying to be more accurate than Lost in Space, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And Captain says Scooby Doo is a documentary compared to the whack on physics in Star Trek. And Edge of Time says, I've been following Jill's TOS production order, so I did start with the best.
Excellent.
I agree, it is.
Yeah.
She's got the best
And-
ones.
Edge of Time says, imagine how dull Scooby Doo would be if Velma never lost her glasses or if Smith didn't like napping. Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
And Captain says, movie Velma, Linda Cardellini.
Cardellini.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, no more Velma. Screw Velma. I don't want to see a Velma movie.
No, yeah, that's just it. Yeah, not the card, not that recent retread, I guess you could say. But no, they Linda Cardellini made some of those early 2000 movies, and she did a great job as Velma. She's good looking. She was in Freaks and Geeks.
Okay. And Captain says this is not Star Trek. It's vaguely respectful of physics. And Geek said, I used to have such a crush on Angeline Cartwright when I was a kid, not realizing when I was watching these episodes, she was already a grown woman.
Well, that happens. Well, like I had a crush. I was a little kid, and I had a crush on Barbara Eden and Lizzie
Yeah.
Montgomery, Barbara Feldon. So yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I
there's a
think-
lot of great women to have crushes on in the '60s when we were kids.
Oh, I
yeah.
had a huge crush on Angela Cartwright too
Yeah,
back then.
same here.
Like she was what, maybe 13, I think, in season 1, and she was probably like maybe 5 years older than I was or something. So, it wasn't totally crazy that I had a big crush on her, but yeah, there were a lot of people. Well, like Barbara
happens.
Feldon too. Oh my goodness, Barbara Feldon.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And thank you, Doug Helms, for subscribing.
Hello, Doug Helms. Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
Doug Helms. Wow.
Welcome. Good to see you.
And don't be afraid to post in the chat. We'll do our best to read all the chats here.
Right, everyone's welcome, and we give everybody a chance to shine.
Yeah, Geek says Erwin Allen was the first Michael Bay.
Yes, you could say that.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
spell Irwin with an I.
And that's a
Good.
very good. That's a very good comparison, I would say. And
Yeah.
Jill's back.
Jill has returned from the away
Yeah.
team.
Hey, Joe.
And one more chat. Buck Rogers or Geek says Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica use the same laser pistol and shuttlecraft.
I'm not
Alrighty.
surprised they were both Glenn Larson Productions.
Yeah, Glenn, I rip off everybody. Larson.
Yes, don't expect any originality there. But there's some beautiful women, so that's always a good thing, right?
Yeah. Aaron Gray. Oh yeah.
Aaron Gray. Yeah, she was pretty sweet.
Yep. So now we have Berta. She basically defended the children from the mighty, scary monster in the cave. And John Robinson definitely appreciates that, and he is growing more attached to her as well. And in the meantime, Dr. Smith and the robot are struggling with that mail order catalog machine to remove the costume off of Dr. Smith. He already wants his own clothes back. So as he's trying to request a return on the galactic device, we now get the appearance of the store manager with his bodyguard, played by the amazing Fritz Feld. And the boxer I mentioned, which I'll cover that here.
Yeah, he was a wrestler.
Yes, a wrestler. Thank you.
He looks like he should be a wrestler.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Captain
definitely-
Obvious here. Yeah, that's a wrestler.
He definitely would not be in the ballet, I'm guessing.
No.
Fritz Feld, who plays Zumdish, the gentleman on the right with his hands behind his back, was 66 when he was hired to play this role.
Cool mustache, by the way.
He had been active in films since 1917, and for that first minor role, he played a hotel page. For decades to come, in over 200 film and TV appearances, he was the go-to guy to play hotel clerks, hotel managers, restaurant maitre d's, head waiters, chefs, and hat clerks, as long as they had a fastidious nature.
Huh.
It was pretty much the same character. His trademark, usually when his character was irked, was to slap his mouth with an open palm and cause a pop sound. He did this first in 1948's If You Knew Susie. His nationality in all these roles was nondescript European, mostly a cross between Belgian and French. He would work for every now and again in an episode of Land of the Giants and return twice more in Lost in Space, as we will see in the future.
Yeah, I do remember him in later episodes, for sure.
Yeah. and he
Tiger
was,
Joe.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, sorry. Go
gonna-
right ahead.
I was just going to cover this really quick. His bodyguard, Tiger Joe March, was 55 when he was cast to play Zumdish's elevator operator / security guard. Prior to acting on screen, he acted in the ring as a professional wrestler, and he was the world's heavyweight wrestling champion of 1937. He wrestled his way into the early 1950s and then became the model for the original Mr. Clean ads.
Really?
Cool.
Yes. He played a
Wow.
referee. He played a referee in a 1964 episode of The Munsters, and an odd job type Chinese bodyguard in a 1965 segment of I Spy. He would
Wow.
also return to serve Zomdish in a future episode, which I will not reveal the name of yet.
Yeah, it's interesting that Fritz Feld, he's so famous doing his popping, with his mouth and his hand to his mouth, that when he appeared in Silent Movie,
Yes.
instead of the sound that we all know, it just was a title card.
Right. Yes.
But we all knew who this guy was. We'd
Oh,
seen him in
boy.
so many shows.
I must say,
I've
at
never
least in
seen.
my
This is my first time seeing him.
Yeah, if
Well-
you're children of the '60s saw this guy in so many things.
right, and he was born in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, he started acting in 1917, so he was quite old at the time. But I'm glad you remembered that, there, Stone Racket, because yes, he was great in Silent Movie, a Mel Brooks movie, and in my personal opinion, one of his last funny ones.
Yeah.
Because I think I think his humor just went off a cliff after that, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was funny. The whole family went to go see that. My dad was really enthralled with that movie.
Why was he a fan of silent movies?
Well, of Mel Brooks.
Or Mel Brooks?
And the whole family went, and I actually went. I think I saw that 3 times in the theater. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great movie, actually. I that might have been one of his last films Mel Brooks did that I actually really liked. Like
Yeah.
some of his later stuff, like History of the World. I went to the theater and I walked out thinking, why did I pay money for that? I could not get into it at all.
Right. Not in my opinion, not only was it not funny, but he was very irritating in it. I got to the point where I couldn't stand looking at him on film anymore.
Yeah, stuff like History of the World. And then he did that Hitchcock parody. What was that one called? That one.
High
High
Anxiety.
Yeah, I didn't
And
care
that
for
was
that
okay.
either.
No, well, the best part of High Anxiety was Cloris Leachman and Harvey Korman. I mean, you take
Yeah.
them out,
Yeah,
the movie,
yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were good, but as a concept, the movie, it just didn't really work for me.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I love it.
Hitchcock, Alfred Hitchcock enjoyed the Mel Brooks's parody of his film so much that
Oh, that's
he
good.
sent Mel Brooks a whole case of champagne.
Nice. Well,
And
Yeah.
that
there
was
you go.
right before he passed away.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I'll be
I
right
was
back.
wondering, Pop, do you have
Yeah.
any pictures from the book to show?
Actually, yes, I was kind of compiling them before
do-
we started.
Yeah, do you have the picture of June Lockhart without her wig?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she looks so much younger in that picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna step out. I've got to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, and I'll get the picture ready.
Cool.
Be right back, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think I rated this too harshly. I feel bad now when I rated it before the stream tonight. Listening
Oh,
to all
no.
you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I gave it a B.
Yeah, I gave it a C
Mhm.
plus, and I feel bad. I should have given it a B as well.
Yeah, I just think
I did too.
it's hard
But
is
we
in the
were
right
trading in earlier.
Wait
But
a
yeah,
minute.
definitely.
Did you give it a C, Jill?
No,
Oh,
no, I
okay.
gave it a B too.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent.
I should have given it a B. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Like I wasn't feeling particularly grouchy at the start, before the stream started, but I guess Dr. Smith I found really well. Smith went back into his silly mode for me in this episode, right? He was
Yeah.
just basically a fool. I guess that kind of
He's
ticked me off
silly.
a lot.
Yeah.
And then
what
also, like Pop said from the Mark Cushman book, that was a good assessment of it. This is pretty much pure fantasy in terms of
Yeah.
the way that they portray the
Yeah.
what helped me
everything.
what helped me with dealing with Jonathan Harris in this episode was all the humor involving the robot compensated, I thought, for all the stuff that didn't quite work with Smith.
Yeah, the robot stuff was good. I got it. I
Yeah.
actually liked the android lady too a lot. She was really
Yeah,
good, I thought.
D.
But
Hartford
the
was
only
really,
thing
really good.
Yeah.
she was great. They essentially gave her the same kind of growth that the robot's been getting, but she gets it all in just one episode. And
Yeah,
it's
because
so
she's an android, and she's not
yeah,
only
and
an
she's an
android, she's an
upgrade. Yeah.
alien android.
Well,
She's an alien android that can upgrade herself.
Wow.
The robot does mention that her circuits or something are more complex than his, I think, if I
Oh
remember.
yeah.
Well,
So
she
that
asked
probably
him. She asked him if he's using a Toron processor, and that's where he
Yeah.
gets defensive, right?
He gets a major inferiority complex in this episode.
Yeah,
Poor robot.
But I'm
poor
strong,
robot.
he says.
Yeah, I can lift heavy things.
Right.
And this is, I'm used to seeing people pull out the robot's power pack to turn them off,
Oh.
but this guy just presses the button.
Right, and it's one of those two white ones in the front. So I guess they're making it look like he's familiar with that model, which he does mention, which is strange because that model's from Earth. But right, he just pushes one of those two large white buttons, which I thought were lights.
Yeah, those are lights. Now, if in the panel in front that has that little sliding door,
Yes.
apparently there's a switch there that you can also turn them off. But that was established with Smith and the robot earlier on in the first season, I think.
Hmm.
That's
So
correct.
yeah, I didn't understand that the two white lights there that doesn't do anything.
Well, it's like the script just called for him to like just push some buttons on the front of the robot.
Yeah,
But
and he just
nobody actually took the time to actually show him where to push or what to do.
yeah, I mean that's kind of sloppy, but of course this is they're on strict budget and a time schedule, and we got to get this shot right away.
Yeah, though
Yeah.
that's the director's fault. I mean, he could have
Yeah.
said, "Okay, you move that thing there and push that or whatever."
You
It's-
got to take out his power pack. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It would have made a little more sense.
Well, actually,
Yes.
I don't know why they didn't. Actually, that would have. Yeah,
it's definitely not like on Star Trek where a director was telling George Takei to press this button here, and he's like, no, if I press that, I'll blow up the Enterprise. I have to press this button. So the Star Trek cast, they knew their buttons on their control panels.
I remember
That's
reading
great.
that
I love
somewhere.
when they do that.
I remember reading that the Star Trek cast actually really got it was almost real to them. They would push the right buttons.
That was for the motion picture. That was the motion picture. They had instruction manuals they had to learn.
That is cool.
That's pretty sweet.
And
So
it's good
there's
because it made
a
it more
bit-
consistent too. Go ahead, Jill.
There's a bit of an inconsistency here. He says merchandise cannot be returned, but just in the previous scene, he allows Smith to return the clothes.
Or
Well,
clothing,
here's the thing: the clothes are probably standardized clothing because they didn't fit right. But the robot was personalized to him as a personalized item. So, because I know some stores there's certain items that can be returned, and there are others are as is.
That works for me.
Yeah, and that would be nice if that were mentioned. It just says sales merchandise cannot be returned.
Yeah,
Depends
picky.
on the store. Yeah, it depends on the store too.
Well, it wasn't.
That's
it
okay,
was-
Jill.
It was also.
I still
problem.
like
on
the
sale.
episode. It's
But-
just
Yeah,
Jill,
but yeah,
the
there's
robot
things.
was also on sale too. It was on sale from 100 whatever units.
I do like your
$89.99.
answer. I do like your answer. Right. I do like your answer, Gorilla.
Yeah.
I just wanted it in the episode.
Yeah, I just wish you were the
Well-
script editor here, Jill.
Yeah. Well, technically, it was in the episode when he said it was on sale for 11 whatever off, or $10 or whatever 10 whatever he is off.
Wasn't it like
whatever
11
the currency
11
was, right?
$11.99 or something, which I thought was hilarious.
Well,
Got the
it went
99,
from it went from 100 to 89.99.
89. I thought the 99 was hilarious though. That was pretty funny. I didn't get John's thing here though. You got to come into the ship if you want to see her. Like, Isn't that kind of getting things a little more risky? Wouldn't
Well-
they want, you know?
This to protect her. This to protect her.
I guess.
Because otherwise they could just whip her off, zip her off.
Maybe. It's good I tell Smith to wait outside. That was a nice line.
Yes, I agree. All right. Sorry about the silence, everybody here. I've got my picture. I'm just checking my email. I have to email it to myself. And I'm seeing if I got it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Bear with me, guys.
All right. So Geek says the bodyguard was also a Plan 9 from outer space.
No, that was Tor Johnson that was in Plan 9.
Yeah,
Right, Tor Johnson. And yeah, completely different. They look similar because of the bald head, I would say. But
Yeah.
definitely a different person.
Okay. And at the time, since I attempted the 1250 plus Dark Shadows, but failed. Now it's stricken to the ground. The 20-minute slow drip, though. No wonder Generation X wasn't allowed in the house.
Oh, I would urge you to give Dark Shadows another try. But you could probably skip the first few hundred episodes though, because it's really when Barnabas comes into the show where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it's like episode 209 or
something like that.
Something like that when Barnabas
210,
first
yeah.
shows up.
Yeah, something like that. And Jonathan Frid basically saved the show, didn't he? Because they were going to
Yeah.
cancel it.
Yeah, it was the ratings weren't anything to shout about, but once they started to add supernatural elements, like they had a ghost, that seemed to pick up the ratings, but it wasn't anything that was going to save the show until they introduced Barnabas, and then the
Yeah.
ratings just went through the roof.
Yeah, and then they had Barnabas's cousin, the werewolf, come in a little while after that, I think.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they had werewolves and
Cousin the werewolf.
yeah,
it was a real fun
Frankenstein like monster named Adam and all kinds of good stuff.
I remember that now. Yeah, that was a great show. It really was.
Nicholas Blinn, the warlock.
And then they had time travel in some
Yep,
later
time
seasons.
travel,
I'm
yeah.
like, wow, yeah. Yeah, it got really cool.
Wow, they had the whole monster mash, sounds like.
Oh, kind of, yeah, Jill. It was a cool show. It really was. Oh, wow, is that her? Wow, she's beautiful.
that's
and this
her.
is what Berta looks like without the makeup.
Darn, I prefer without
All
the
right,
makeup.
that is her from or at least without the silver makeup, I guess, right? So that's her from her photo in Vogue magazine.
No, I could see her as a fashion model for sure. Wow.
You mean you couldn't see that when she was silver?
Not really. Not with that hat on either. That didn't help with that hat.
Yeah. Now, if they should have had Penny and Judy, have her without the hat, and I know the description in the book described, Smith ordering an android with quote green hair unquote.
Oh gosh.
It's like no, we don't see her hair at all.
Yeah, it would have been actually better if they had her with hair, because then Penny and Judy could have given her like a makeover or something.
There you go.
That's a nice photo, though. Gosh, I gotta say, she was a pretty attractive lady in her day.
And they have a photo of June Lockhart without her Maureen Robinson wig.
Yes, and I do have that here. We're sharing that now. Let me see here. Da-da-da. Give me a moment, everyone.
Oh, she's pretty gorgeous.
Fritz Feld, the actor, always liked to take pictures of himself playing chess with his co-stars. So there are actually several photos in this book of him playing against Berta, him playing against Jonathan Harris, him playing against Guy Williams. And this is the photo that Stone Mackett was mentioning. There's June Lockhart. Without her wig, because that's actually a wig that she wears as June. Let me move this over and try to get a little bit better close up here.
cursor, which I didn't mean to draw on it, but there we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
she just
how-
looks
how it
totally
can look
different,
before.
doesn't she?
She's beautiful,
Yeah.
like without the wig. Oh my goodness. I never realized she was that gorgeous. Like she's really beautiful.
For
Oh,
sure.
Wow.
Pop's
Alright.
dog agrees.
Hey,
She looks like a
welcome,
totally
Scotty.
different person,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
Two paws up, vote for my dog.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Scotty.
Hello, Scotty. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Scotty.
Scotty. Hey.
Hey, Pop, do you happen to have the picture of Jonathan Harris and Fritz Feld playing chess?
Yes, I can produce that. Give me a moment.
It's a really good one.
All
The way Jonathan Harris's expression on his face.
right. Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's getting to be 10 o'clock already, though.
Yeah, sorry guys. I know we've been kind of going off topic a little bit here tonight. I apologize for that. So if you guys can help me, I'm pulling up some of these pictures that Stone Racket was talking about. If you guys can help me describe what's going on in the episode, I'd appreciate it.
For sure. Where did we leave off? Let's see.
Well, they're talking
They're-
about trading fuel now for payment.
Yes, that's what
Right.
exactly what's
And
going on.
so they want to trade the deuteronium. And I guess it's something you can just pick up and sniff, even though I remember previous episodes they were saying something about it being radioactive or something. And
Yeah.
so I guess that's not really a problem.
Yeah, I
Oh
wouldn't
no,
want-
not this
I-
time.
Not
I wouldn't
yet,
want
not
to.
more.
Okay.
I would not want to sniff spaceship fuel. That's definitely.
That's right.
Why is it they always want to trade their fuel away so they can't get off the planet? Like that's happened before.
Yeah,
I
those
remember
the monster
trade.
plants.
I remember it being taken. I think right the plants took it away from them against their will, and I think
Yeah.
we may have had an episode or two where Dr. Smith was also gave it away without asking.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Attack of the Killer Plants.
yeah. With Judy, I don't want any salad, Robinson.
Well, that's the best part of this episode is that they don't lose the fuel.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought, oh no,
Yay.
they're gonna lose.
They
the
still
have-
fuel.
They still have four
They didn't.
canisters. They just need one more, but it's gonna take a long time. Oh, sorry.
Well, they were saying that that vein they were drilling from was running dry. They were saying they
Yeah.
only had one more canister left in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that shouldn't take too
And-
long.
Right. So I'm
And the
assuming that's
robot
just dirty
raises
enough
his
for them to
hand.
shove off. Yes.
Right, because
Sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry, you can go.
Oh no! Go ahead. I'm just getting this photo ready here.
All right. So Verda is feeling more and more emotions. So this is definitely bicentennial lady. And so even the robot feels sorry for her, even though he was kind of mad at her before. So I guess he forgave her.
Yep. He has his claw up.
Yep, he does.
Only
He changed
Smith.
his mind.
Only Smith is the sourpuss of the gang.
Yeah. Right. Right, because Smith wants to leave this planet more than he cares about anybody else.
Yep.
Makes sense. And so they try to make a deal, and so because the fuel is not well refined, he has to give away twice the amount of fuel to
What?
I think he says it needs
to
be-
trade.
I think it needs to be refined another 100 times or something like that. He says.
No,
Yeah.
I was watching that scene there. I think he is bluffing.
Who's bluffing?
The guy there, he's trying to get
Zombie?
more out of him there. The salesman.
Oh,
He's zoomed
you're
it, yeah.
saying that it's not. There's no problem with the refinery at all.
No,
He's just saying that to get more.
Yeah,
It's
he's trying to.
possible.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go. He was trying to go for 3 or 4 canisters.
Look at
Mhm.
Jonathan Harris's expression. It's priceless.
There we go. So here's where we have Berta basically saying that she would. I've got to remember it now. Is this where she's saying that she doesn't want to stay?
Not quite.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I don't want to get out of sequence. I apologize for that. It's like if we're not paying attention.
Are all humans
Well,
like
she
you
has
and
to
your,
say she has to say she doesn't want to stay later on because we can't have her be a recurring character.
are all humans
That's
like you
exactly
and
it,
your
yeah.
family? Are all humans like you and your family? We could only hope. It's like
Right.
I wish all families were as
Well,
but anyway,
I
go ahead.
forgot the biggest, most important reason why everybody wants to help her and keep her here is because if she goes back with that guy, they're gonna burn
Yeah.
her down and disassemble her
Yeah.
and
Yes.
melt her down for parts.
Right.
Which
use
I
a few
thought
of
that
her
was
parts
some
for the
pretty good
robot.
stakes.
It
Until
was,
they
and
take
it
it
is.
away later. They they eliminate it
Well,
later.
Well, they eliminate it because that's when Zum just realizes that
Mhm.
she's a better model than what he originally anticipated. She has the
Right.
capacity
She's
to
not
learn.
trash.
Right, not trash. Right. So she throws a rock at the security guard, and Zum just even points out that she's not programmed to fight back against the guard. So that's where they're starting to realize that she's more valuable than what he originally anticipated. And he doesn't really, at this point, does not want to trade her. He wants to keep her.
Yeah. That's a way to avoid any kind of morality or anything. It doesn't matter to him. She's just a commodity.
Right. And when she tells the kids, it's okay, I have to go, I'll always be there. It kind of reminds me, I think it's borrowed from the Electric Grandmother, or I Sing the Body Electric from Ray Bradbury.
Yeah,
Because
that yeah, I thought the same thing. It echoes that story in a similar fashion, yeah.
Right. Because the android robot, whatever you want to call it, learned from the children, became more than the sum of its parts. And it knew that at a certain point it had to leave. And it told the kids that I'm going to serve other people just like I did you. You don't need me anymore. And there will be a place where I'll always be.
Yep.
And that was the plot of the Electric Grandmother, which is similar to the ending of this episode. Which I recommend, Electric Grandmother. There was an episode of the Twilight Zone. And also a movie with Maureen Stapleton.
And then he says it's a different model, a more complex model than he
Then you-
originally thought.
Right. That's right.
They're in more demand.
And probably more valuable. So at this point, I think even if the Robinsons decide to keep her, I don't think Zomdish is going to be satisfied with just a few cans of fuel.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like Jill said, they're dancing around the morality part of it. They don't want her to look like a slave, so that's why she makes it sound like it's basically her decision to go back.
Mm.
Yeah, they make it sound that way, even though she still is being traded and everything.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
thinks that she can help. She can help.
She's still merchandise, basically. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So now it's all goodbye, everybody. Thank you all. Hugs and kisses. And what happens here is, in the meantime, while they're all doing that, Smith sneaks off with the machine, drags it away, trying to hide it and keep it. But Zum just
This is the
snaps
weird
his
part.
fingers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
Zum
saw
just snaps-
something in the smoke. There's a person in that smoke. There's 4 people in that smoke. We had some 3-legged creatures in that smoke. I think they go by. I think they're called Erics.
Yeah, I do believe you are correct.
Oh, yeah. Wait, are you just how long ago have you noticed this? Because I've been doing this. I've had Eric's.
No, the only time it's very noticeable is in that smoke if you go back.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There's 4 of them. No, there's 6. I see 6 Erics.
Eric's
Oh,
is
boy.
always around. He's there to keep the copyright gods happy.
Yeah, there are 4 Erics. right, can
So
we catch up on chat real quick?
sure, thank you.
All right, where the heck were we at? Scrolling. Geek says, "You're absolutely right, my bag." Then we're getting. I can't tell what that is.
That's dishes of ice cream.
Okay, we're getting ice cream
Yummy.
here.
Yeah.
This guy
Chocolate.
says I give this episode an A+. I never saw it, but that lady is pretty.
Very cool.
Yeah, Scotty
Yes, you
says
were.
maybe I've been going about this all wrong. It seems that the ladies are pretty in this show. The older ones, I mean.
Sure.
I would say yes.
Yeah. The dudes are just dry toast. So dry toast.
Well, I bet you can see beautiful older women in this without seeing plastic surgery. That's another relief.
Yeah.
And she looks 5 years younger without the wig.
I'd say 10 years younger.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 10. Like she looked amazing without the wig.
Yeah. And Scotty says these guys are hotel employees. No, department store employees.
Yeah,
Right.
let's get it right, Scotty.
Yeah.
Intergalactic
Department store.
department store employees. Who
Uh,
is some dish?
Yeah.
The manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Scotty says it is a baby show made for sitcom circumstance. And Keek says, to paraphrase The Rock, it doesn't matter what time it is. Well, it does for this old fella. This guy says, sorry, Scurvy, that was scrolling. He's laughing at Scotty. When I said I don't know when you are trolling, perhaps I was trolling. And trollception. Scurvy says, do two trollings cancel each other out? Perhaps the conversation did happen. No disassemble. And Scurvy, I'm trying to watch this Lost in Space review. Scurvy says, Sky, sorry, I'll stay on topic. Smith naps often. Sky says, is this formal wear across the galaxy? Why does that old guy have an ascot?
No, the design of the way that the manager of the store is dressed and his guard, and I'll say his transportation device, is like that of a classic 1920s, 30s department store. That was just a decision on the behalf of the set designers, I guess, costume designers, and probably a script called for it. And also, I have to mention, because judging by the description, I think a lot of the reason that they designed this was because of Fritz Feld, the guest star, because that was his type of roles he always played.
Yeah, exactly. All modeled around his traditional character.
I think that's maybe even why they had the elevator. It looks like 19th century or something.
Yes.
Almost. So
Yeah.
maybe that was a little tribute to him as well.
I think so.
Something amusing for the older folks in the audience.
Yeah. And Scurvy says ascots have galaxy-wide appeal. And Scotty says you're a three-legged creature. I'm not going to comment on that because Pop told me I have to keep this to the rating of the show.
Yes,
so,
we do.
I'm going to get some comments here for some.
There may be kids watching, right? Yeah. I'm hoping to introduce this to a new audience.
Yeah, if this was on my channel, I'd be making some comments, but I'm respecting Pop on this one. And Scurvy gets it. And he goes, Eric's! Love that ukulele alien. And Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, he does play one a ukulele.
And is that an aluminum Mary Poppins?
She pretty much could have been, and because she was teaching the children, it wouldn't have been weird if and she started bonding with them and stuff. So
yeah, and then if she started to sing to them, then she would be Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
With a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Hey, Jill, you want to read this one?
Hi, I'm Karen, and I would like to speak to the manager.
Yeah, I'm not getting clipped saying that. So, and Geek says it's like, hey, are you being served in outer space?
Oh, jeez.
That's a reference to an excellent British sitcom.
Yeah,
Now
we're all
that would
caught
be
up.
a strange show if they actually did that.
And we're all caught up.
Thank you, Gorilla. So here's what they're saying their goodbyes. And what happened was Smith tried to steal the ordering device and he drug it off to an undisclosed location. But at the snap of a finger, Zumdish was able to bring back the machine with Smith trapped inside. So we get a painting of his face on the front, which is telling us that he's contained somewhere in the machine.
Okay.
Well-
But what
Yeah.
happens afterwards? Do they transport the machine back to the department store, or
We
what
described
happens?
that.
Or do
they
they
have,
just leave it there?
Yeah, they asked Zumdish. They say, "Are you going to take it?" He says, "No, I'll leave it here," which kind of makes sense because I mean it's there to make money, make sales. So I would leave it there too because in case somebody else wants to come by and use it, but this time an actual paying customer.
I
do-
must have missed that.
I do find it odd though that there'd be this kind of machine on a planet that was probably completely devoid of anybody that would order anything before the Robinson family landed.
Oh no, there's that nitpicking again. No.
Right?
I
It
mean,
could have been.
seriously,
There could have been. You never know. There could have been people before them. We don't know how old
I
it is.
guess.
But if Jill, can you go back a couple frames?
Uh-oh.
One more. There. That's the first appearance of that outline right there. We will see that again.
Oh yeah, it's Irwin
Right.
Allen.
Yes,
gonna
we
see it
will
again.
that prop
Oh, it
again.
is. Ha.
So get used to it. Yes. I said next time. And what's funny is that the next time you see it, Major West will be involved with it, and he also is in the frame.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
Are you
right.
saying that's Irwin Allen's outline of him?
Oh no. What I'm just saying is that prop is going to show
Oh,
up
okay.
again.
It's,
That
Oh,
prop-
it's
oh, the reuse of props.
right,
not
the reuse of
currency.
props,
Gotcha.
right.
Exactly. Well, like the tube that they used for Verta when she appeared,
Yeah,
and when they show Dr. Smith, that's obviously one taken right out of the Jupiter too.
that's right. It's a freezing tube.
Yeah, just redressed slightly.
Yeah.
So here's where they bring Dr. Smith back, and he's standing in this position, and they open it up, which I guess by opening it up, that awakens him. He stumbles out a little bit and then opens his eyes, and he's a little disoriented, and he's wondering where he's at.
In the bargain basement.
Right, and he gets an insult from
From
Major
Don.
West.
And everybody breathe deeply. The chariot is in the background.
Yeah, that was cool.
Finally,
It's
Yeah.
like, the chariot, awesome.
So it does make an appearance in season 2. Yay.
So,
Yay.
yeah,
Yeah.
as we can see,
so
it's
they
very rare.
they didn't leave it behind after all.
No.
No, somehow it fits into Jupiter too, and it's not the last time we're going to see something large suddenly be able to fit inside the Jupiter too. I guess it's kind of like the TARDIS in that way.
Yeah, they must
Well,
have
they-
a TARDIS
they
room
can-
on the ship.
They just disassemble it and it folds right neatly in that little closet by the main hatchway. No.
Yeah, over there where the elevator is.
Yeah.
Right, we get to see Dr. Smith actually exit through that door in this episode because he got frustrated in an earlier scene, and instead of getting in the elevator or going down the stairs or the ladder to the lower deck, he goes inside that other door,
Yeah.
which we will find out later on is a reactor for the Jupiter 2. But they haven't established that yet. So here we have our intro for next week's episode, pretty much. Dr. Smith is making, what is it? He's making, I can't remember the device is, but he,
A relay station?
Yeah,
That's it.
relay station.
right,
Yeah.
thank you, which is supposed to hook up to the Jupiter 2. And of course, once again, he's very confident in it, but the robot tells him there's some wires loose. But it doesn't matter because Dr. Smith thinks that everything he does is perfection. So, of course, he flips it on the power and it explodes.
Yeah, we got to have more and more explosions.
Which at this point, yes, we get an introduction to this gentleman here. And of course, it's always funny when they look and they can see that it's a human being. But then what do they say? What is it? I wonder what that is. Right.
No, right there. It was just so weird listening to that dialogue. There's a strange alien. It looks like
Right. It just looks like some guy.
It's an intergalactic wrestler.
Right. And I thought this was a good cliffhanger too. So basically, the guy comes out, attacks Professor Robinson. Professor Robinson is able to beat him, knock him aside, and then as he does that, a second person comes out, attacks Professor Robinson. And I like this where it holds him above his head, and that's we get our freeze frame for next week.
I'm trying to remember now. Was that actually him, or was it a stunt double that was?
Well, we
being
get a better
used?
look at it next week, but I'm guessing it's most likely a stunt double.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping so because it looks kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I remind everybody, I did put a poll in the chat. If you get a chance, if you haven't done so, please consider voting. What grade you would give either this episode or your opinion of our coverage of this episode. But what I'm going to do first, which I usually do, is I'm going to go around and get everyone's review, and they're going to tell us about their channels. And then before you leave, don't step out the door quite yet. I'm going to be showing a preview of next week's episode. So without further ado, I guess we're in alphabetical order. And I don't know how we got in this order, but this is how it turned out. So Jill, are you ready to share with us what you think of this episode?
Sure. Well, I enjoyed this episode. It was it has one of my favorite kinds of stories, which is the artificial intelligence discovering humanity. And so this one, even though we already have this story in the robot itself, it's nice to see another one. And a lady android at that is a lot of fun. And I enjoyed how the robot's feelings of jealousy and inferiority played against that. And so these are my favorite kinds of sci-fi stories. It kind of reminds me of Bicentennial Man, and so I do give this one a B. And something that bugs me a bit about Lost in Space, though, is that they bring up so many interesting science fiction or fantasy concepts, but then they don't really explore them, except on a very surface level. Because I really enjoyed learning about the oxygen and carbon dioxide flip or non-existence with the plants, and so I did explain that during the review. But they just bring stuff up and drop it, and so
Huh.
and there's of course all the inconsistencies that we talked about during the review that I mentioned, and so that's the only reason I can't go to an A. So I wish they'd said actually brain waves instead of psychic frequencies. But then it's never really addressed again. We don't learn. I suppose that since she evolved into a more complex android, that she was able to break away from her programming, so that she was no longer tethered to Dr. Smith. But I have to just infer that so that's the kind of things that they should wrap up, that they don't wrap up. And I don't know, if you bring up something cool, just follow up on it, please. That's all I really want. But I still had a good time. And I'm glad for it. And yes, I have a channel, Antiderivative Jill. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm halfway to 800. So, oh, wait a minute. 700. Oh, I was giving myself an extra
We're
100
getting there. It
subscribers.
won't be long. It won't be long.
I'm
Yeah, everybody.
halfway to
Yeah.
700
And I
subscribers.
second that, everybody. She has an amazing channel. Do check it
Yes,
out. And
please
subscribe.
do. And so tomorrow I'm going to talk about Star Trek, the original series. Let that be your last battlefield. And so we officially have just 10 episodes left of the original series, and after that we'll move on to For All Mankind. And on Friday I'm going to review Fantastic Planet, and so that'll be fun. Actually, tomorrow I have a member stream.
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday I have a member stream. I'm already in Tuesday because I'm thinking about reviewing. So on Wednesday at noon, I'm going to have a membership stream. And that's it. That's what I got.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate it. Also, thank you for another wonderful job of the slide. I really appreciate it. I could not have done it without you.
You're welcome. No problem.
All right. And what about you, Stone Rocket? What do you think about this episode?
I gave this episode a B as well. I my 3-word review is silly but sweet. I thought it had its heart in the right place, and as I mentioned earlier in the stream, that I like that we got to see more of Judy, and the other players had a little more to do in this episode. Um, I guess the only one that didn't get as many lines this time around was Mark Goddard as Don, but he got to do some. He had some humorous lines, especially at the end. So everyone all around got enough to do in this episode. I enjoyed seeing that. It was more of a balance among the cast, and I really enjoyed the humor involving the robot. So
Very
I gave
cool.
it a B for that reason. It doesn't get an A because it's it's the things that Jill mentioned, some of the inconsistencies, and unfortunately, the design of the cave monster, with CBS, bearing down with the heavy censorship, I might have given it an A if the cave creature was was more
Yes.
elaborate and scary. But this is not Doctor Who back in the day when the producers, like John um Robert Holmes, he would say, "Let's scare the little buggers to death." So it's like they didn't have that attitude at CBS.
It would have
No
been
way,
nice.
no way, no how. I wish it just a little bit of an edge, please, like it
Hmm.
was in the first season. But
Yep.
but this was a fun episode and had a lot of good humor in it. And I don't have a channel. I'm not a YouTuber, but I love hanging out with you, Pop, and your amazing channel. And
Oh, it's always our pleasure.
what? Yeah, it's I enjoy it very very much. I'm glad you have me on here, and I also hang out with Antiderivative Jill with her amazing channel and discussing Star Trek, the classic Star Trek.
That never gets old. I could
Yeah,
discuss that
I
forever.
can talk about that on and on for hours.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. Like I said, and we love having you as a guest.
Thank you very much.
All right. Are you ready to go, PvP? Are you ready to tell us, speak your mind about this part and tell us what you
Yeah,
think?
I'm about as ready as I'll ever be, I guess. Yeah, I graded this too low when I before I came on the stream tonight. I originally gave it a C plus, but thinking it over and listening to all of you guys talking about the episode, I kind of got to go and agree that I think I'll actually revise my rating to a B. It's actually got a lot of good stuff in it. I guess I probably downgraded it a bit because I found Smith extremely annoying in a lot of this episode for some reason, like even more than usual. So that's one reason I originally, graded it lower. Um, and let me see. And I guess another reason is the actor that played Mr. Zoom Dish or whatever his name is.
Fritz Feld.
Fritz Feld, yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a terrible actor per se, but I always found his mouth popping, heel clicking shtick just kind of annoyed me after a while because I saw him do it so many times over and over and over again, right? So that kind of annoyed me a little bit, even though the character itself in the episode wasn't too bad at all. Um, Positives, though, let's see. Well, I thought the lady who played the android, Dee Hartford, was pretty awesome. She was pretty cool. So that was good. She played it well, and it was interesting how her character did develop through the episode. Because, of course, first of she's just an android, just programmed, and then, of course, as she interacts with the Robinsons, particularly, I'd say Penny and Will, their humanity interacting with her seems to rub off on her character, and she starts to almost become sentient in a way. She starts to almost, well, she does start to develop emotions basically because she does become quite fond of the kids. And which, so that's kind of a really nice touch. I thought that was quite lovely. Um, let's see, gosh, what else? And yeah, there's a lot of good things like the elevator transporter thing that was kind of weird. The vending machine that was kind of fun. There's actually a lot of pretty good stuff in the episode. So yeah, I mean even the cave monster, even though it wasn't what it probably could have been, it was still kind of fun to look at with those red glowing eyes. So yeah, I'll set it at a B. It's a good entertaining episode basically.
Oh, very cool. And anything you want to share about your channel?
Well, just what I usually say. I probably sound like a broken record. R. I'm just continuing to do music playlists, and I keep trying to work on them a little bit by bit, but haven't put anything up in a while. But I probably will one of these days, sometime this week. So, yeah, that's about it, I guess, so far.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, PvP. Once again, I definitely appreciate and enjoy your input.
No, thank you. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here with you, Pop, and all the other cool people on the panel. And I've said it probably too many times. I think all you guys are pretty cool, and I really do enjoy your company. So, I definitely is something I would not want to miss because it's always fun.
I'm glad to hear that. PvP, sorry, Gorillas Random Thoughts. Are you ready to give us your peace of mind?
I brought this up from a C minus because of one line. One line in this whole thing. And that was Don there going, I don't know whether to boil him in oil or what's the other one? Boil him in oil or draw and quarter him. Loved it.
Yes.
Loved it. Best part of the whole episode. No, like the makeup was cool on the chick and all that. The alien monster was like, that's bad. There. It's a kind of an interesting story though, but there's so many plot holes. Like, okay, how the planet surviving? They have to have some way of surviving. They don't show there. Why would a department store not collect the money? If that's supposed to be like a vending machine, why didn't they have you insert your money before you get your product? I'm not gonna make the comparison I was gonna say. That I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna. But no, it's just there's all kinds of things they didn't explain in this. So I'm just gonna give it a B.
All right. Well, I appreciate anything about your channel you would like
Really?
to share.
Yeah. All right.
That's quite the
So,
raise.
well, for my F.
From a C minus to a B. Wow, that's pretty incredible. Well, the response was, I think it'd be interesting either way, whether he was drawn and quartered or simply boiled in oil.
Yeah, that's what John says to it.
Yeah, actually, I forgot that line. That line was pretty awesome, and I'm actually kind of amazed they got that by the censors. Actually.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's like, wait a minute. They can't have a scary cave monster. They can have people talking about being boiled in oil or drawn and quartered.
Yeah, both of those are pretty harsh punishments, I would say. So
it's a historical lesson for the kids. It's a historical lesson for the kids on what happens to traitors. That's all.
Okay.
Or the tax man.
Yeah. But as for my channel, we will have Justified on Wednesday there. Thursday, we got Cringe Stock there. I'd invite you, Jill, but I don't think this is your type of movie here. We're watching something spelling. Oh, now I have to look it up because it's something from the Infinite Universe there.
Yeah, Space Bimbos or something like that.
I'll have it here just a sec.
What?
Yeah,
you don't know what my kind of movie is.
Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity.
Well, there it is.
Girls. I don't think I might do an open panel on Friday, but I'm not going to do a Waltons there because I have to get ready to go to the cities on Saturday, so there will be no review on Saturday. Sunday we are watching the Ted there. Also, I do numerous shorts, but the latest short that I got, or second to latest short I got out, I believe it is, proves that demons are real. Because I have demons in my house. If you guys want to check that out, I got proof that demons are real.
That sounds scary.
Yeah. I had to hide it in the closet.
Uh-oh.
No, that's my last short I did.
All right. Well,
So,
thank you, Gorilla. I appreciate it, and especially helping me with the chat tonight again. Once again, you
Yeah.
did a fantastic
I didn't
job.
know you had a cat.
cat. Well, I had 2 cats,
Yeah.
but those weren't the
2
demons I was
cats.
talking about. Well, if you want me to spoil the short, I can.
Oh, you don't. No, you don't have to. I was just whatever.
Just watch the short, you'll laugh.
Don't spoil it.
I object, Jill. I object. Suggesting that cats are demons.
They
How-
are.
Oh, it's
How-
just a
how
joke.
dare
I
you.
have a cat too.
I
I
got
know,
proof cats.
I know, which is doubly shocking. Why would you say that?
I got proof cats are evil.
My
one cat.
cats are awesome, and I've had a good run of kitty cats,
Yeah.
and none of them have been, temperamental or overly destructive. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's each cat is different.
Okay,
But-
I can prove they're evil. My cat here, I refused to pet him because I was trying to fall asleep. So what does he do? He gets up and goes and lays down right on my head and right on my face and tried to smother me to death.
That does sound a bit nasty, actually, Gorilla.
Yeah, there's when I used to have a job. I'm retired now, but when I was at work, I would tell the women at work that that my cats will fall asleep on my chest. I'll be laying on the couch or in bed, and they'll be curled up on my chest, and they go, "Oh, I couldn't stand anything like that." And I was like, "Oh, no problem with me."
Right. As
You
they
know,
say, that's why you keep them away from newborn babies.
Well,
yeah.
the chest is fine, but
Yeah, the chest
head,
is fine.
Hey, that's not cool.
Yeah, I just, you don't want them, you don't want them anywhere near your face.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be weird.
But yeah, they like to snuggle up on my chest or
Oh boy.
beside my legs, all curled up, snuggle buddies.
I'm intrigued.
But
though,
I have to say, and to defend Gorilla side of it, I've seen cats. I've had them too, and I love them. But I swear sometimes their eyes glow in the dark.
Ouch.
Yeah, they
They've got certain reflective qualities in their
yeah,
eyes.
that refractive, reflective kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be a little startling if you wake up all of a sudden and you and it's like, oh, but also it's a kind of a beautiful thing as well.
All right.
I love cat's eyes. They're just
All right, I have to tell this one here. Have you guys ever felt like someone was staring at you while you're sleeping?
Thank goodness no, because I can lock my door.
Okay. So my room used to be out on the porch, so we had like a porch that we converted into a couple bedrooms, and we have a door into the living room here. Well, that's always closed, But apparently, my one night I felt like I was like someone was staring at me. I woke up and here the cat is literally like half an inch from my face, sniffing me, and he wasn't even supposed to be out on the porch.
That's scary. Maybe he was thinking of like dinner or something there, Gorilla.
Yeah, maybe he had something for dinner that he liked the smell of or something.
yeah.
Or maybe he's going to make Gorilla dinner,
right.
pizza dinner.
All right, Pop, what's your review?
Oh yeah.
My review for this episode is I know it's gonna sound like the same thing. Well, it is pretty much the same thing that you guys did. I'm gonna give it a B, a solid B. It would have been nice also as well. I agree if the monster was a little more menacing because it looked, to my opinion, it looked like it was just coming out saying hello, give me a hug, see you later. It would have been an interesting dynamic. I know Berta was learning emotions, and I know that that was her opportunity to learn fear. because they had brought it up earlier in the episode. But it would have been an interesting dynamic if she would have. I know this is going to sound crazy, but battled the monster. If somehow she
Wow.
stepped forward to where she actually did defend the kids, where they showed the kids in a little more danger, where she had to react and do something at least. Like, I don't know, shoot a laser out of her hand or super strength or just something to scare the monster off. I thought would have been an interesting, nice little addition to the script. But of course, woulda, shoulda, coulda. You can't add something to a show that's 50 years old. But I enjoyed the episode. I like the introduction of Zumdish, Fritzfeld, the eccentric characters. It reminds me similar to the Batman show from the 60s. The eccentric and odd characters and character actors they would get for this show, I find is always entertaining. And I miss that with current shows. I don't think we're going to get character actors like this anymore. People with that sort of background in history like these people did. And it was great to see the family, the Robinsons, each actor get a little more lines within the episode. We don't get to see Penny shine very much anymore. So that was nice to get her chance there. I love her. You could see how the kids are growing, especially Penny and Angela and Billy Mooney. You can really tell how they're growing within the series itself. They're maturing, and we'll see even more of that in season 3. But enough about that. Yeah, solid episode. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I like the fact that it was modeled after an old hotel. I thought that was quaint, interesting, and I don't know. It has style. It has style. It could have just been an aluminum box or a glass tube, but the fact that they designed it to look like it did, I really do enjoy that, and that adds a little bit more and makes it more memorable, in my opinion. And tomorrow night on our horror sci-fi stream, we're going to be covering the amazing movie Westworld, written and directed by Michael Crichton. It's similar, if you guys don't know, it's the same guy who wrote Jurassic Park, and it's along the same vein, except this time, instead of dinosaurs coming to life, we have, I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say it's like stepping into an actual live Western town. And then Wednesday, hopefully, we'll be back with 2 more episodes from the 3rd season of Gilligan's Island. And we'll be concluding Gilligan's Island probably within the next few months. And I'm considering doing Night Gallery right as soon as we complete Gilligan's Island, moving right into Night Gallery. Was created and most of it written by Rod Serling. Most of you know from The Twilight Zone. So imagine The Twilight Zone, but more with a horror flavor to it. And then Saturday, I'll be back with another stream of rumblings from the lab. The last one went over 7 hours. I don't know if the next one's going to be that long or not, but it was very fun, and I invite everybody there. I think you'll have a great time. And once again, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, everyone in the chat, and everyone on the panel for taking the time to be here tonight with me. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the poll in the chat and then share the results with everybody, and let's see what we get. And I want to remind you, thank you, everybody, for voting. I appreciate when you guys interact with us. It's always fun. So let's pull this up without further delay here. If I can move fast enough and not be such a buffoon. All right, so here are the results from the chat. And it looks like, oh, yes, thank you. We had a total of 15 votes. What grade would you give the Android machine? And it looks like with a solid 53%, we got B plus to B minus. And at a 40%, we got A plus to A minus. 6% C plus to C minus. And it looks like nobody, even including Gorilla, gave it a D plus to F minus, which is
Oh,
always
sure.
Actually-
You have forgot to vote.
Please disregard my C. That was my C I voted. So it's actually probably closer to like 59% for the B level, I'm guessing.
That's quite all right. It looks like most of us all agreed, and even with the chat too, it looks like we're all in the pretty much. I think we enjoyed it just about the same, which makes me happy. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it at some level. So, like I said, nobody gave it a D or an F, which is always a good thing. And once again, the F minus is just a joke. I just put that in there just in case you really, really don't like it.
I just wanted to ask, did everybody on the panel tonight give it a B? Like, was this the first time we've ever watched an episode where we agreed 100% on the rating?
Yeah, I believe so. I think we
I
all
think
gave it
so.
a B. I would.
Yeah,
I really liked your review, Pop. I would have given it an A if one, like you said, the cave monster was more frightening, and if the android had been the key factor in saving the children instead of John coming in and firing his laser rifle. John
Oh,
still
that would
could
have
have,
been great.
yeah, John still could have come in there, but as a witness to what Verda did to save the children, and they could still have that scene. It could still play out. But if she had done it, I totally agree. I would have given an A just for that improvement there.
Right. And I think the reason why we did not get that, and unfortunately, because it's another sign of the times,
Right.
because she's a female, and to show a female in peril and
Yeah.
battling an alien or a monster may have been too much
Exactly.
for
They
the
showed
censor.
her as having more knowledge. So it would make sense if she also had superior firepower
Yes.
than the robot.
That
Yes.
yeah, firepower or battling ability.
Some sort of defensive mode. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
well,
Because
it's
it's
interesting.
obviously the
A kung,
program.
kung fu.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a program to not harm humans. You would think they'd have also their program to protect humans
You're right.
at some
Well, yeah,
level.
it's interesting too that the robot gets to zap the creature with his lightning bolts earlier in the episode. And I always kind of think of the robot as masculine with his voice, right? So it's obviously sexism that the lady android couldn't protect the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice if she could have zapped it too.
Yep.
But we get her crying oil.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that was necessary, I thought. You know,
Yeah, they decided to, instead of showing her right turning into battle mode, is show her that she's learning fear. She was learning another emotion, which is still an interesting way to do it. And still, I'm not complaining about the ending. It's just
yeah.
that it would have been interesting if it had a different dynamic, is all.
Yeah, well, yeah, fear for the children,
Yeah.
but bravery for standing and protecting them. Yeah.
And without trying not to be sexist when I say this, but kind of like learning a mother instinct.
Well, yeah. There's
Well,
that's not sexist at all.
she did have a mother instinct though when she was willing to go back and leave the kids, and sacrifice herself in a way, um, you know, and not fight to stay with them. So that was kind of like self-sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I just
All
want to
right.
mention one thing that popped into my mind a minute ago while I was listening to all you guys was the cool elevator spaceship thingy. Um, I was just thinking when you mentioned earlier when some of you guys were talking about Ray Bradbury's "I Sing the Body Electric" story. Um, I remember the Bradbury Building in some like in Blade Runner and
Yeah,
like
it's in
shows
LA.
like Outer Limits. Do do do, do the elevators in that building kind of remind you of what we saw in the episode?
They
Yeah,
are.
they're
That building is
yeah.
extremely old, and they have it. Unfortunately, now it's closed to the public. But if you look in the windows, it looks exactly like right out of the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have that ornate elevators and I didn't know it was closed to the public. I hope that doesn't last.
that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I went to do videos last year, and I visited
Mm.
the Bradbury building. I was hoping to get inside. Nope. And then not only did it say closed to the public, but some guy just casually goes and walks in, unlocks it, and walks in. I said, "Well, isn't this closed to the public? Or our office is in here?" So I'm
Uh
thinking, oh, so for the lucky elite few, I guess, right?
yeah. That's too bad.
I
That's
did wonder though if they actually wanted to pay tribute to Bradbury in this episode by making the elevator look similar,
I don't know
if
if
that
that's
makes any
connected to
sense.
Ray Bradbury. Are you thinking about the Ray Bradbury Theater?
No, I
Because
think
that
about
didn't come out till later.
I'm thinking about the elevators in the Ray Bradbury building because the
No, no,
elevator in
no, no,
this
no, no, no,
episode
no, no,
reminded me.
no, no. The building's not named after Ray Bradbury.
Oh, okay. Well, I always get
Yeah.
that
No,
confused
that's
then.
just a coincidence. It happens to have the same name.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yes.
that building was built way before Bradbury was even
Very much
writing.
Okay.
I mean, it'd
Oh,
be
well.
nice. It would
It'd be nice, yeah.
Right.
My
And if
mistake.
I'm still around, I would vote the first city on Mars should be named Bradbury, in my opinion.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Right.
That would be
I think
cool.
he's right. He's very deserving of that, in my opinion. that
Oh
is.
yeah, most
That would
definitely.
be, yeah, that would be cool.
So, is there anything anybody wants to mention before I close this? How are we doing on the chat, Gorilla? Are you still with us?
We got quite a bit here. So,
Uh-oh. Well, sounds a little
Oh.
weary.
Gorilla, if you want to dip out for the night, I understand. I can finish the chat if you'd like.
all right, let me see if I got it marked. Just yeah, we got to talk on the last. So we did our reviews there, so it got backed up quite a bit.
Sorry about that, Gorilla.
Yeah, I got it marked where we left off here, right here. I got it
Got it. Edge of
All
time, right?
right here.
All right. Well, thank you, Gorilla. And if you're
Yep.
taking off, have a great night. I appreciate it, and I will see you soon.
Up, see ya.
Yeah, thank you,
night.
Gorilla. Have a good night
Gorilla.
now.
Good night,
sleep.
Gorilla.
Thank you for your help.
Have
Yeah.
a good
Good
sleep.
night, Pop. Good night, PvP. Good night, Stoner. Good night, Jill. Good night, Scott.
Night.
Scott.
Boy.
The
God.
Waltons.
All right.
And
Yay.
Jill is glowing again.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Are
Not in a
are you?
radioactive way, I hope.
Is that kind? Are you glowing kind of like the companion?
The companion. Oh, metamorphosis.
Yeah, but in this
No.
instance, the Jill must continue.
For sure. Well, this was a Vorta avatar that I have from another live stream.
Very cool.
From
Cool.
Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but I love all your avatars.
Thank you.
Geek Flags says you're absolutely right. Miss my bag. Taylor Swift says
It's ice cream. Yeah.
more ice cream. Thank you.
Yeah.
Scotty says I give this episode an A+. I never saw it, but that lady is pretty. I do agree with you, Scotty.
Yep.
Taylor Swift says
Haven't seen it. I
hello,
can tell
Scotty.
it.
Right, but at least that's a good reason to give it an A. And Scotty says maybe I've been going about this all wrong. It seems delays are pretty in this
Yeah,
show.
we've been
Older
through
one.
these chats.
Well, where's the one that
Yeah, because I know we've.
Well, Gorilla was so sleepy that
Yeah.
he gave you the wrong star.
Sorry, guys.
I guess Scotty doesn't like Penny.
Matt G says Scotty. Hey, ya panel, says Scotty. And Geek says
Not yet. She
you're
needs some more
5 years
years.
younger without the wig. Okay, I think we had that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
10
guys.
years for me.
So these guys are hotel employees. Okay. Scotty says lemon pie. Lemon pie says Scotty. Who is Zumdish? Yes, we did cover that one. It is a baby show made for sitcom circumstance. Geek Flag says, to paraphrase The Rock, it doesn't matter what time it is. And Scotty says, sorry, Lemon, that was trolling. Scotty says, Lemon, and Lemon Pie says, when I said I don't know when you are trolling, perhaps. I remember now the discussion with the trolling. Let's see. No disassemble, says Scotty. Sorry, guys. I'm
Yeah,
hopping through
short circuit.
Lemon, I'm trying to watch this Lost in Space review. Lemon Pie says, Scotty, sorry, I'll stay on topic. Smith naps often. Yes, he does. In this format, is this format where across the galaxy? Why does that old guy
Talking
have
about the ascots earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Sorry,
this
guys.
formal wear across the galaxy? And some
I have-
pancakes.
Yeah.
Stacks of pancakes.
I apologize, everybody. It's really small for me on my laptop, but I had to lean forward to see what all those little symbols mean. And Scotty says, is that an aluminum Mary Pop? Yeah, I think. How far behind am? Oh, there it is. There it is. Edge of Time says, best Vandomatic Japan has to offer. Scotty says, no blues or greens in the show. I believe so, but you're right. Maybe not as often as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Geek says they could have been. In fact, we had a green lady just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
With a salad bowl on her head. Geek Flag says they could have been people living on that planet, and they left the planet because they knew it was going to blow up. Yeah, we've had that before, so very possible. Can we throttle Dr. Smith? He would have been better dead from the start, says Scotty.
Well, apparently you can draw and quarter him or simply have him boiled in oil.
Oh my.
Scotty
Now
says, "Are we
that's
charmed by Dr. Smith?"
that's an episode they'd never get past the censors back then.
I can't say I like that doctor, says Scotty. What do the rest of the men do on this ship, says Scotty. Well, one of them is the leader of the group, I guess you could say, and the other one is a mechanic and pilot. Scotty R37 says, "Is Dr. Smith the only engineer?"
Oh,
He's not
jeez.
an
No,
engineer. He's a doctor,
He's not an engineer.
as in a
well,
medical doctor.
actually,
And he also outranks West because Dr. Smith is a colonel.
Yes.
And
But he
West is
also-
only a major.
Yes.
but he also does some electrical work. He's fixed the robot before.
Yeah, he knows the
repaired him.
robot, which is that's true.
Well, he programmed it.
Yeah, but he can also repair it.
But he
When-
did blow. But he did blow up the other machine in the episodes because he crossed the
Right.
wires.
So he
or
wasn't
whatever.
he wasn't so
Yeah.
good at electronics in the coming up episode.
Right.
Right.
It's
The
that,
sillier,
it's that great consistency that you love so much,
Right.
Jill.
the sillier
Yeah.
the character,
Right.
the sillier the character got, it seemed like the more inept he got. And Scotty says, "Where are the Robinsons? Where is West? They're there somewhere." Scotty says, "The focus on Smith breaks the show. He is a clown, a disgrace." Yeah, but at the time, that show probably wouldn't have lasted 3 seasons without him, honestly.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it
Smith
was-
that made the show popular.
Yeah,
Yes, it was
just
a
for your
solid-
information, Scotty, Jonathan Harris, the robot, and Bill Mooney as Will Robinson, they got the most fan mail by far.
Absolutely, yes. And Smith, Jonathan Harris did a lot of polishing on those scripts,
Yeah.
not only with his own lines, but also some of the other cast members. So he also really brought a lot to the show. Besides,
And
just
he was
what
he
you
was a
see.
really good ambassador for the show, and whenever they had a guest star, he would roll out the red carpet for them and take them around and introduce the guest star to all the cast. And so he was well loved by most of the cast on that show,
Yes, even
and
the cast,
the
yeah.
production people. And yeah,
Right. We spoke about it last week, but even though yes, the cast were disappointed that their roles were getting smaller, they still understood and appreciated, and they knew that he was the star of the show and that he carried the show.
yeah.
Because remember, Family Hour, 1960s.
Right.
So
1960s Family Hour, and not on just any network, but CBS.
yes,
Well,
who turned
yes.
down Star Trek, but
Yeah.
then picked up Lost in Space.
Right.
The thing is, after a couple of months, the rest of the cast probably realized that they were going to have jobs because of the Dr. Smith character for
Yes.
years to come, right? So of course they probably were okay with it because they were getting a good paycheck,
Exactly. They still got paid the same. Didn't matter how many lines
Yeah.
they had.
Exactly. Actually, it wouldn't be bad just to stand in the background and get paid, right?
Right.
Yeah, but this episode, I like that at least Judy had more than just one or two lines.
Yeah,
agree,
poor
yes.
Judy. Judy
Poor
always
Judy.
seems to get the
Right.
short end of the stick,
Yeah, Don got the shaft this time, I guess.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
worst
Actually,
of all.
yeah.
he did get good stuff at the end though.
Yeah,
Dealing with
finally.
Smith.
That's true. Yeah.
At the time says you're going to have to answer to the Coca-Cola.
Oh, a Dr. Strangelove reference.
Scotty says, "Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine." Scotty R37 says, "I enjoyed this episode, 12 out of 10. Scotty says, "Gorshin." I think he means Frank Gorshin.
Yeah, for tomorrow's Jill's Star Trek
Oh,
stream.
yes, let that be their last battlefield.
Let that
Yep.
be your
Scotty-
last
Yeah.
battlefield.
Yeah.
Scotty
That's
says,
a
"I
good,
thought you were going to say Fantastic Four."
that's a
Hmm.
good episode. I like Battlefield. That's a good one.
It is. For a bottle episode as well, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time says, "Before you travel in the confines of space, wear Odorano." Yeah, that might help, right? And don't eat any beans.
Yeah.
Scotty says, "Oh man, I gotta subscribe." Well, that'd be great, Scotty. Thank you. Scotty also says, "I can't wait to meet you, Stone Racket." Yes, he's a very excellent, intelligent, and funny man. I
Why,
figure-
thank you. And Scotty
Great
has met
benefit.
me. We've interacted on Jill's channel.
Yeah, and you're a great benefit to our streams. A great addition. So I appreciate it. And
Why, thank
I
you.
heartily welcome you here.
I love being here. I love talking about sci-fi.
All right, and it definitely does show, and I appreciate it. I first saw Fantastic Planet clips on Night Flight Parfait. And hopefully you saw the whole thing. If not, I encourage you guys to watch it before Jill's stream. So you'll
I
know
will
what's
do
going
that.
on.
I remember seeing previews for it when it was first released, and I thought the animation was a little odd, and
Well, this is early
some
70s.
some of the advertising, the person with the big eyes and the fins for ears, and
Yes.
the two dudes fighting with the
Dragon things.
those jaw type things,
Uh-huh.
and that's
So
about all I remember. But I will watch it.
that
I'll give it a
is
shot.
that is
I
the
guarantee you,
animated film I'm thinking about, because
yes, animated
Yeah.
1973,
I've
winner
never
of the
seen
Cannes
it.
Film Festival.
I'll have to try and track it down and watch it sometime
Well,
this week then.
okay, keep in mind it's early 70s, but if you're a critic of the animation, just remember it more than makes up for it in script.
Oh
It's an
yeah, I'm not
excellent,
gonna.
excellent movie.
Yeah, I'm just talking
Well, yeah.
about as a teenager when I saw it on advertisements on TV. I'm just talking about of the time. I'm definitely not going to be harsh about you know that aspect at all.
Yeah, I
If
imagine
you
it'd have to be interesting for Jill to put it on her Friday stream. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at it for sure.
Absolutely, and if you've seen it, I highly recommend the sequel, which is called, depending on where you're at, either Light Years or Gandahar, and it's
Ah,
amazing. The animation, it's a step of up in the right direction. It's better than this. I'm not going to say better because I like both, but there's an improvement in the animation, and it's written by Rene Lolo, the same guy, the French guy. It's a great movie, and it's got an amazing cast of people who do the voice for the American version.
hmm.
Oh,
So
okay.
Gandahar / Light Years. It's going to be one of those two titles. Very difficult to find. So if you can find it, please check it out. It's a
Oh
great
gosh,
movie.
I hope I can find it online somewhere. Gosh.
Sci-fi sit there. Well, I'm going to try to be. Oh, her review's on Friday. I'm going to try to be there for her review, and if I can, I'll try to see if I can dig up at least a trailer for the movie. Sci-fi sit there and says, "PvP, speak now or for hold your peace."
I have no
Scotty
idea
says,
what
"I
that
can
means.
I can hold his peace if it
Oh,
is
okay,
too
Scotty.
heavy." Sci-fi sit down says, "Hello there, Scotty," and Scotty says, "Good day, Sci-fi sit down," and Scotty says,
Oh,
"The Smokey Robinsons." Well, no, but they probably do carry a tune. Scotty says, "B," and Scotty says, "Bowie." Punk SKA. I'm not sure what that means, but
Ska,
okay.
ska.
ska. Yeah,
It's
Okay.
it's like punk rock but with trumpets.
there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but it is kind of fun music.
Oh,
Scotty says, "Go ahead."
when is
I
your
don't know about the.
birthday?
Well,
PvP, when is your birthday?
it's gonna be a long, long time until next year. Let's put it that way. So I'll let you guys know when it gets closer,
Cool.
because
Scotty says,
it was not well. Actually, it'll be no coming up in a few months. Actually, coming to think of it.
"Oh, you had to remember."
Oh boy, I must be getting tired, guys. Oh,
Yeah.
C minus, says Scotty,
Well,
and Scotty says,
is it a
"This,
B or a C minus he gave it? What? I
yeah,
thought he
this
gave it an A
episode
earlier.
and
12
now
out of 10,
it's G
Yeah.
cubed now.
G cubed." And so I said, "Pop culture. So
Ah, gee.
who will most likely be on Tuesday's movie stream? I will be there if you allow me." Yeah, if you've seen the movie recently, guys, Westworld. If you haven't, there's a link in my community tab. Please watch the movie before you join the panel. But it's going to be an open panel. So it'll have our usual hosts, which will be myself, Nemesis of Eden, and then Gorilla's Random Thoughts, most likely, and then whoever else has seen the movie that wants to talk about it with us.
I'll pop in late as usual, probably, but I have seen the movie like 4 or 5 times, so I
Yeah.
don't even need to watch it. I pretty much got that one memorized.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see it in the theater when it was I was 73. But when it was on television, I think it was in 75 when it premiered on network television. The whole family watched it.
Cool.
And I am happy to say I did see it at the theater.
Me too.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
wanted to, but that was still in the days where I just couldn't drop everything and run to the theater.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was like 15 when I saw that in 73. It's like, wow, on a big screen, that film is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scotty says, Westworld, I want to join too. Well, you're invited, Scotty.
The link
Bowling
is on
Oil
Pop's
is
channel in the community
in,
page, Scotty.
in the community tab. Scotty says bowling oil is best for French fried potatoes. I do agree with that one. Scotty says, "Come on, Eileen," like the song.
Yeah.
And
What
lemon
what
pie.
what inspired that? I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
Lemon pie
lost in
says,
space.
I saw that short. Scary says lemon pie.
Hmm.
And Sci-Fi Nation says, "Well, make sure the Sci-Fi Sit Down." Sorry, says Scotty. Make sure it fits our schedule. Plus, you will have to needed to see the movie. Plus, you will need to have to behave yourself. Oh, Scotty will be okay. Scotty R37 says, "I hope your demons come out of the closet." Well, you never know. Lemon pie, sit down. Behaving is Scotty's specialty. Yes, at your time.
Well, and he'll be even better because I think I might join for that one too because I really like that movie.
Well,
the
that'd be
thing
great. And
is,
you're welcome. You're also invited, Jill. So that'd be wonderful if you could be there.
yeah, that'd be cool, Joe. But the Tuesday streams are a little more off the cuff anyway. I mean, it's not G-rated generally, so I think Pop gives us a little more leeway, as far as making jokes and
Yeah, and
stuff.
I think the movie's rated R anyway. So it's definitely a looser. Than
Oh, was it rated R?
I could
Well, I
be wrong.
think
I have to look it up.
Yeah,
Oh.
it has a sex scene.
There was a lot
If
of
it was
violence.
rated, yeah, if it was rated R, no wonder I didn't see it in the theater.
Yeah, there was violence and there was some nudity
Yeah.
too, if I remember. So yeah.
At your time says in a show with everything, but Yul Brynner, absolutely, and he's amazing in that movie.
Oh, he's great.
Scotty says, "Sci-Fi Sit Down. I agree to the first two and casually hope for the third." Scotty says, "Lemon gets it," and Sci-Fi says, "Lemon pie, yeah, possibly not." And Scotty says, "It'll be fine and fun." Sci-Fi Sit Down. Lemon pie says, "Sit down. You recognize the homage to Return of the Sith line? I'm guessing." Sci-Fi Sit Down says, "Scotty, well, you need to ask Pops for the time, and hopefully he sends you a link for StreamYards for tomorrow." Well, there'll also be a link in the chat. So even if they don't get it through Twitter, there will be a link in the chat for people to join the panel. Lemon Pie says it's not his first rodeo. Sit down. No, that is true. And Sit down says Lemon Pie just letting him know, and I look forward to seeing him if he shows up on Tuesday's stream. Lemon Pie says sit down. Thumbs up. Love you, Pop, says Scotty. Likewise, Scotty. And Lemon Pie says, as his agent, I'll say yes, he'll be there. Just kidding, I am not his agent. And Scotty says, are you going to be at the Star Trek tomorrow? I know I am. I'm definitely looking forward to it. In fact, I got to watch it tonight after we wrap this up. Lemon Pie says, thanks everyone for the great stream. Yes, I agree, and I second that. Scotty says, this was a fun hangout. Thanks, Lost in Spacers. Likewise, Scotty, good to see you. Edge of Time says, I didn't realize I was supposed to know everything by my second rodeo. That means like a very low amount of rodeos. That's okay. Yeehaw. Scotty says,
I have
guess.
to step away and do stuff. So
Okay,
I'm
Jill.
gonna head
Okay.
out.
Have a good night, Joe.
I'll see you guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry
good night,
about that,
Jill. We'll see you
Yeah.
tomorrow
Okay.
for Star
Yeah.
Trek.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah. See ya soon. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye now.
Night.
Scotty says, I gave it an A with pluses. Never saw the episode.
Then how can he give
Lemon
it an
Pie
A plus?
says, maybe our stream?
Yeah.
Lemon
Oh,
Pie says,
that's what I
thanks.
give your streams. A triple plus.
Oh,
Yay.
thank you. Lemon Pie says, thanks, Pop, Jill, Stone Rocket Gorilla, and PvP.
You're
And
welcome.
Scotty says, no F's were given. Yes, thank you. Sci-Fi says, Scotty, will that show that you are a hardcore Lost in Space fan and watcher? And Scotty always correcting his spelling, saying, given. LDG says, LOL. And LDG, I'm glad you're still here, by the way, with this LDG. Looky, I got Finity, he says. And Scotty says, sounds like you all gave it the D, if you know what I mean. Sci-Fi says, hello there, LDG, free the net. You're up this morning, late this morning. Oops, don't want that. Sci-Fi sit down, says Scotty, no 2Ds. Scotty says, Sci-Fi sit down, it isn't like I'm saving Lost in Space. Scotty R37 says, I'll zap you with my lightning bolts, LOL. And Scotty says, the oil weeping was touching. Yes, I agree. I did like that as well. Hello, Herc 130. Catching the tail end of the show tonight. I got here when I could. Great to see the A- team panel and A- team chat here. Well, thank you, Herc 130. And as usual, it's great to see you. And thank you for stopping by. Scotty says, hey, you fly boy. And Sci-Fi says, hello there, Herc 130. And Herc says, salute Sci-Fi. And Herc says, Scotty. Scotty says, Jazzy Johnny Williams. Yes.
Yeah.
Herc says, lemon pie. Scotty says, you're an ornate elevator. Wow, how far am I behind? Scotty says, speaking of Ray Bradbury, I recently became a Scientologist. That's interesting. Well, thank goodness he wasn't. Scotty says, who wrote John Carter of
Edgar
Mars?
Rice Burroughs.
Yes,
Edgar
that is
Rice
true.
Burroughs.
Thank you. Definitely correct. Gorilla sounds.
Oh, you might want to avoid that one, Pop.
Yeah, we don't want that language, LDG, not on this stream. LDG says, wake up. And Scotty says, that guy should get the settlement name. And LG says, Scotty, hit me up if you can. Elman, trying to talk too fast. I apologize, guys. Lemon Pie says, bye, Gorilla. Guy says, good night, Gorilla. Cody Guy says, good night. And LDG says, hey, Cody. Geek Flag says, good night, John Boy. Cody says, Scotty. And she's an Al Calavici, says Scotty. And Cody Guy says, hey, LDG, Scotty. Lemon Pie says, hey, Cody. And Scotty says, it is inappropriate to lust after a penny. Scroll down,
No.
says Scotty. I'm doing my best, Scotty. I'm doing my best. Scotty says, Matt G. And Scotty says, I like the movie better. Oh, well, okay. To each their own. I respect everyone's opinion. Scotty says, I don't mean to poop on your town.
Your lawn.
I'm glad you guys dig it. I'm sorry. I have to lean forward to read these.
Yeah.
Scotty
no
says,
problem.
well, I didn't mean to poop on your lawn, but I am still glad you liked it. And Geek Flag says, come on, there we go. And Dr. Smith, through the entire series, he remained a guest star. So they had to pay him more money.
A special
correct.
guest star.
Special
guest star.
Yes.
And also about the comment about lusting after Penny. PvP and I do not lust after Angela Cartwright. It brings us back to our childhood years.
Correct.
And she was one of our first childhood crushes, and
Right,
that's all.
Kids
So I take offense to that. I am not lusting after a child.
Yeah, with kids just crush. It's not lust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not even funny to joke about. So I take offense to that.
I just always thought Angela Cartwright back then, when I was a kid watching her on Lost in Space, I just found her. I just thought she was always a very beautiful lady. I always thought she just had a beautiful face. Like that's why I had a crush. I just fell in love with her because
same here.
And she was such a sweet character. I mean, Penny was so cool.
Yeah. It just takes me back to my childhood years. And my first girlfriend was named Angela, and she was a brunette.
Wow.
And she had big eyes like Angela Cartwright. So that's what it brings me back to.
Yeah. Wow. Lucky you.
Very cool. Scotty says, I had to watch it before. It's the whole deal. And Scotty R37 says, I love discovering the things with people. Well, that's great. Yeah, that is definitely a highlight of getting to know people here on YouTube. Sorry. Scotty says, you calling me old, Wonka? I don't know who did that. Joy is, Scotty says, Joy is revisiting the movie before the convo. Yes. Well, and that way you could talk with us about the movie. Sorry, my dog jumping up and down. Because there's not really much point in being on the panel if you don't really know what's going on with the movie. And Geek Flag says, good night, Jill. Edge of Time says, I watched the original Alien action figure commercial feature, Children Too Young.
Oh, yeah. He's got a point there.
Merchandising. Yeah, I agree. And Scotty says, see you all in the future. Good evening and good night. You too, Scotty. All right. So with that, that should be the end of the chat. And once again, thank you to everybody in the chat. And most of all, big hugs and thank you to everybody on the panel. I am now going to show the preview on the way out here for next week's episode.
And we get that ready here. Bear with me, everybody. I know it's already late. I apologize for this.
Yeah, I can't believe we've been on for like 3 hours now. Wow.
Yeah. Fortunately, I
All right.
took a power nap, so I'm good to
Oh.
go.
And
I
I'm in
have
too
to.
much pain to sleep. My back hurts too much. So
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
keeps me awake.
Well, I didn't sleep well last night because my knees were aching so bad. I ended up getting up halfway through the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Us
that's a
old
Oh.
shame.
geezers. Us old
That's-
geezers. That's all we
That's a
talk
shame.
about, right?
Yeah,
Well, I got a-
my back was bothering me a little bit too, but
Yeah.
fortunately, I was able to sleep.
I got 5 hours sleep last night, and I was so tired the first couple hours working today that I moved my lunch hour ahead an hour and took a power nap for like 40 minutes to
Oh,
get
wow.
through the day. Oh yeah, it wasn't good.
Yep. Stay young, everybody. If you're young, stay that way. Don't get
Yeah.
old.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a great night. And here's the preview for next week's Boston Space.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Being matched against some little alien doesn't mean you're going to win. I mean, this could be some kind of a trick or something.
I shall fight in the games of Gamma 6.
It is regrettable that you did not get a better specimen.
You are useless to me.
Dr. Smith, you try my patience.
We will invade his world and subdue it.